but ass.
What is good, chat? How are we doing today? Welcome to another show. And this one I am absolutely excited about. Okay, stop the freaking show. All right, Pearl finally got what was coming to her. All right, chat. And y'all don't understand the significance of this. Okay, we have to go over this because it is big. Not only did she get exposed in the most brutal way possible, but a lot of the points that was brought up by Trent during this debate made literally so much factual sense. It could be applied to every single member of these pill popping spaces, right? Because you guys got to understand the talking points is what they use to hook a lot of these bozo men in, okay? Especially when it comes to the topic of marriages. That's right, because according to Pearl, a marriage is a bad deal for men. Okay, marriage is an absolute horrible deal for men. Now, she has her stats, that she parades out there whenever she's going on these debates. All right, she has these stats and facts, right? She goes over and she says, "Well, look, men aren't choosing women because women are overweight and women are OnlyFans." And all these different, points that really have not actually been factually checked. Okay. Remember, I told you guys a lot of the pill popping spaces, it's a bro science to get men pissed off at women so we can continue this bullshit gender war that shouldn't actually continue. Okay. And the facts or the counter argument, we haven't actually seen. I mean, we have seen a lot of good counter arguments, but not directly when someone is debating Pearl. Usually, with a Pearl debate, the moderator is not as strong and it's not as structured. Okay. And the reason why is because, well, I don't even know. I don't know these guys what they're planning, but Pearl uses a strategy where she likes to talk over people and then put words in their mouth and then have them, pretty much put words in their mouth, attack those words, and then have them defend those words that she put in their mouth. Okay. So she's been allowed to get away with this multiple times. The only person that I've actually seen that did really well in managing those tactics were Destiny. But then again, even Destiny's a human being, okay? He couldn't help but get frustrated with it. I mean, how can you not get frustrated with Pearl? I mean, let's just be real here. How can you not get frustrated with this woman? I mean, her voice alone is just ear piercing, okay? Like, I mean, I'm telling you right now, it just doesn't work out. She sounds like she's holding a gaggle of saliva stuck to the roof of her mouth with her tongue, and she's I think always talking about something that she knows nothing about. Like, this woman is just completely brain dead, and I don't know what else to say about this, chat. Okay, but she does have her posse of Sims that will defend her. Why? I don't know. methinks they have a weird attraction to her. I mean, hey, listen, you know, her daddy's still waiting on somebody to take that 9 acres and a mule offer. So Pearl is still looking for husbands. So I'll just let you know that she's nearing that wall. So if there are any takers, if there are any takers, go ahead and raise your hand and march down the line, because she definitely single. And which goes back to my next point. Okay, my next point, meaning Pearl, when she goes on these debates with these talking points, okay, she doesn't realize that she herself is the subject of that particular narrative, right? Because again, she literally is, I mean, she's not the super most in shape woman in the world. She lives her life like a Western modern woman. Some can even say borderline feminist, because she could be at home. I mean, she could be out searching for husbands. Matter of fact, we've even seen proof in the pudding with her friends who came out and exposed her later. They're married. All right. Some of them were even married before they got, into talking this mess with Pearl. So they're already living their life. So we know it's possible. But why hasn't Pearl done it? It's because she is these things when it comes to the modern women trope that she rails against, right? And it's kind of fascinating because you don't really see this kind of behavior. I mean, you do, right? But they're usually, the women that do this are a little bit more on the attractive side. So Pearl is not, but she's very, very adamant. She's very strong at advocating for men. So strong, in fact, some people might even consider her the female simp that simps for men. Or let's be more specific, the femcel that simps for incels. that's the best way I can put it, because in some ways it is true. Okay, we see Pearl, even during these debates she finds herself in, go into these ridiculous stretches of just lunacy when it comes down to defending men at all costs, right? Even though there are perfect scenarios where it takes two to tango, okay? When it comes down to, hey, listen, you got to make sure the woman is fit, because, when women get married, they become unfit. So because they're unfit, women can't, why are you whales? Why you just can't get whales? Why can't you get fit for your husband? Look at your husband. He don't got nothing wrong with him. Not to mention the fact that whales, right? Not to mention the fact that husbands also lose weight, or not lose weight, gain weight in marriages too as well. It's a mutual thing. And it kind of makes sense, right? You're married, you get comfortable, you're not going to the gym as much, unless you really have that mentality where you're on that gym grind set mentality, bro. Unless you're that, if you're one of those average couples that get together, chances are both of y'all motherfuckers are getting weight. It's not just a woman problem, right? But you will see Pearl with these arguments go above and beyond just to hate the women and simp for the men. She might be the biggest simp for men in the entire red pill popping space. Matter of fact, her debates have transcended the pill popping spaces, because she's been on Piers Morgan. So we could even say she is the biggest simp in all of social media for men, or incel men. Let's just be specific, because regular men don't agree with her talking points, especially the ones that claim that women should lose their right to vote. Yeah, that's the nonsense these bozos get up. This is the nonsense they get down over there. And now you can't act surprised when YouTube says, we not partnering with you. None of this, because you're toxic. This is just weird, right? Advocating for women to lose the rights to vote because of what? Because you're assigning all these different things to women that you could also assign to the men. Okay, if you're saying women are more promiscuous, then we got to look at the men, especially the men who are in these pill popping spaces. Pearl, why don't you call out the men in these pill popping spaces? You and Sneeko, y'all were over there on Fresh and Fit recently, huh? Why didn't you call out Myron on this bullshit? Pearl, one of your talking points is single mothers. The biggest reason why men are walking away from marriage, right? Because you got single mothers. There's too many single mamas out there. Whales. All right. So listen. Okay. These women need to close their legs. Okay. What about the men making single mothers? Like Fresh. He's done this to multiple women. What about them? Are you not going to hold them accountable? You notice how these guys try to, they tend to protect each other because they're cool, but it's a demonize the women at all costs. And I've noticed that throughout a lot of these pill popping spaces, right? You got to demonize the woman, even though it takes two to tango, even though when it comes to, when Pearl talks about, oh, women get more abortions now. Okay, they're killing more babies. Okay, you guys gotta listen to me. Why does anyone listen to me? I mean, women are killing their babies, right? Okay, when she's going on that tirade, okay, don't forget that some of these bozos that you're partnering with that also suggest abortions to women. So apparently that's cool. That's all cool, fine and dandy if the guy does it. But you know, if the girl does it, we gotta shame her, slut shame her. She's a whore. Women need to be accountable. All right, that's the problem in modern society today. Women cannot be held accountable. Who's gonna hold them accountable while conveniently excusing the dudes? I mean, the hypocrisy is just on full display. Now, I told you guys that Pearl had multiple debates. She's been on multiple channels, but aside from debating with Destiny, not a lot of people could really deal with it because the debate tactics were not, or not the tactics itself, but the whole structure of the debate wasn't set up. So Pearl was able to employ tactics where she overtalks you, she interrupts you, she tends to put stuff in your mouth, all these different things. So it usually throws the guys off balance. Okay, and they have to attack all these other straw men rather than staying focused. But in this debate, it was a little bit different. Okay, this debate, it actually made sense the way it ran it, chat. And I loved it because the guy, you know, the moderator was fair on both sides, and she debated this guy named Trent. Okay, Trent Horn, I believe. So she debated him, and the structure was nice. So we were able to clearly hear Pearl outline her talking points instead of just having them start the debate and start going at it. We're able to have a moment where Pearl can list out of her points, and then we can have the other guy list out all of his points countering Pearl's claim, and then we have a proper dialogue. And honestly, I don't know what made Pearl sound stupid when she was listing off, you know, her little opening statement about her ideologies, or when she decided to go the cross-examination route with Trent, because it was all bad. Anyone from a mile away can see that these people, either Pearl is crazy or she's grifting. That's the only conclusions you come to at this point, right? You're either grifting or you're crazy. I have never seen anyone simp for men this hard. Like, I've never seen this happen in my life. Bro, listen, I'm not saying that men are perfect, okay? No, obviously men aren't perfect, or women aren't perfect either. But we got to be able to call out the faults on both sides. When we're talking about single mothers, it takes two to tango, all right? When we're talking about situations where men aren't eligible for marriage or women aren't eligible for marriage, we got to understand, okay, look at the root causes of that, okay? Maybe that can attribute to certain things. When we talk about weight gain, these things can affect men just as much as women. So we got to be able to open up our minds and see both sides instead of just this one-sided way that keeps this gender war hate flowing. And it's just, I mean, we're just tired of it. Okay. So before we get into the video, we got to address one important thing, chat. Okay. We got to address the most important thing of this entire show. Okay, and that's you guys. More specifically, the like button. All right, shout out to you guys. You guys are watching from everywhere in the world right now. Some of you guys are all over the place. I appreciate y'all spending the night with dukendon. That means a lot to me. So please, I'm asking for sponsors. All right, if you want to go ahead and sponsor the show, it's real easy. Trust me. It's real easy. It's real simple. You got to do one thing. All right. The one thing you got to do is just hit the like button. That's right. The one right below the screen here. The like button right below the screen here. And congratulations, you're a show sponsor, because realistically, who needs actual sponsors when we got you guys? So shout out to you guys. Hit the like button and let's get on with this shit show. I'm gonna just be real with y'all, chat. I don't know if I can endure this. So y'all listen, if we're gonna have to do this stream with Pearl, we're going to really have to do it because we need to endure. Okay, there's a lot of things that were said that will frustrate each and every one of y'all in the chat, but we need to endure. But I'm going to just tell you this. I might not make it. I might not make it, chat. I saw 5 minutes of it. I'm like, oh, Lord. More deep. More deep. I said, oh, my goodness, what have you got me into? All right, let's go ahead and get on with the show.
I'm going to go. All right, so marriage today is a bad deal for men, meaning that it is more likely to not work out than it is to work out. 51% of those that sign up for marriage are not in a better place. Out of 100 men, at least 50 are not getting a good deal, essentially. I would like to clarify that I am not talking about some religious sect. I am talking about average Americans. On top of that, there is a huge legal risk you are facing as a man. Again, I am not here to discuss the religiosity of marriage, but I'm here to talk about the outcomes of marriage in 2024, as well as the legal ramifications for getting married. I've interviewed over 1,000 women and men on marriage and relationships, and have been putting together a documentary on family court, and have found that most men have no idea what they are signing up for when they get married. Marriage is objectively a bad deal for men in 2024. What I would consider a bad deal is where the risk outweighs the reward. What I would consider a successful marriage is an obedient wife and staying together for a lifetime. To put it simply, men want sex, silence, and sandwiches from a woman they are attracted to.
Again, notice the red pill talking points just oozing out of this opening statement right now. Sex, silence. Like, what are you talking about? Like, she's talking from a childish perspective. This is a woman who doesn't actually have a real perspective when it comes to even being in a relationship, let alone a marriage. Okay, she is everything that she is speaking out against. Like, listen, yo, Pearl, until you've been married, who the fuck are you to say anything? Who are you to say marriage is a bad deal for men, right? You haven't even been in that situation yet, all right? You're not even talking to men who are currently married. And you notice Fresh and Fit, when you see all these other channels, they don't talk to people who are actually in relationships. You don't hear anything about the positives, okay? You only hear about the negatives. Somebody got done wrong in child support court. Somebody got done wrong. All these different things. It's like, okay, listen, there's risks with everything you do. Hell, you walk outside, take a whiff of that LA air, you probably might get cancer. Who knows? Okay, there's risks everywhere with everything we do. But the thing is, there's some things that are just worth the risk, such as when we're coming together as men and women. Doesn't have to be marriage or anything like that, but just when men and women really want each other. Something beautiful that we can't deny usually happens in these cases. And a lot of times, and we've seen it on Fresh and Fit, this is what these guys really want. They want long-term relationships. At the end of the day, this flimsy thing where you're just fucking this girl or banging 50 girls a night or doing this and that and this and that, it is not healthy. There's nothing healthy about that in the long run. The ideologies suck. Okay, so it just doesn't make any sense how we're not hearing from the other side of the team. Okay, where are all the married guys on your platforms, Pearl? Because you got this one-sided perspective. I've both been married and divorced. Okay, I currently pay child support. I have been through the court system. I've paid thousands of dollars through the legal system. Okay, I have fought for custody, and yet I'm still here telling y'all, listen, bro. Okay, women aren't all that bad. So I'm just, and it's not a simp thing or anything like that. It's just you go through your heartbreak, you mature, and you learn from it. You just learn from it. That's it.
Unfortunately, women are not offering that in 2024. Women have zero interest in being wives. Gen Z women rank men 7th on their priority list, coming behind things like education, travel, and experiences. Millennial women are not much better. They rank men as 4th behind their careers, education, and finances. I personally have interviewed over 1,000 women from London to Miami to Vegas and even the suburbs of Chicago. And I can tell you firsthand that most young women have no interest in being wives. This can be shown by women's outcomes and choices. Many men, like Trent, have been married for years and have no idea what the dating market is like for young people. 1 out of 3 women have had an abortion.
I'm out. Now you guys heard that. Hey, Trent she's referring to is her opponent, right? She's saying guys like Trent have been married for years. She's essentially saying the guy she's debating is out of touch. Pearl, if that is true, then you need to say the same thing about Rollo Tomasi, because he's been in marriage for over 27 years. 27 years, and none of y'all said nothing to him. So if Trent is out of touch, what do you say about Rollo? Why is he still an authority figure in the pill popping space? Can we revisit that? Because if you're going to use this line of argument in your opening statement, Pearl, it really doesn't even make any sense, because you're not even calling out people in similar positions right now. What about Donovan Sharp? You're sucking up the Donnie boy right now. Listen, both Rollo and Donnie have called you a grifter, yet you're still sucking their asses. So I'm sorry. These guys are married, out of touch. Okay, some of them have been married for years. So if that is enough to discount Trent as being out of touch in today's dating market, what does it say about your buddies? Again, notice the hypocrisy.
in the United States, 1 out of 4 women has an STD. 90% of women have been on birth control at some point in their life. 80% of sexually active women will contract HPV at some point in their lifetime. The average woman is 5'3" and 170 pounds. On top of that, men can never really know the sexual past of the woman they are marrying. Dating apps have made promiscuity more accessible and easier to hide. Women have a great incentive to lie about their sexual past. The CDC reports that the average number of sexual partners for a woman is between 4 and 8. But I can tell you from interviews that I've done that below 10 is considered low nowadays. This is especially crazy considering once a woman has over 5 sexual partners, she is less likely to have a stable marriage.
Where are the facts for that? Like where are the concrete peer review studies for that statement? But no, seriously. Oh, women have over 5 body counts. All of a sudden, it makes her unqualified for marriage. Matt, hey, Pearl, Earth to Pearl. Hey, hello, Earth to Pearl. You understand that there are women who are more promiscuous than you right now. They got rings on their fingers, right? So, I mean, that blows a hole in your fucking theory. That's for sure. Matter of fact, we can see clear evidence of promiscuous women got tons of men lining up behind them, ready to wipe that thing up. And what do you have to say about that? Okay, so again, these more than 5 body counts all of a sudden disqualifies a woman. Okay, listen, if we're gonna go that route, what about the 50+ banging women that Myron advocates for his audience to do in order to know what a hoe is from a housewife? What happens to that? Because did he bang 50 women before he got with Angie? Is that what you're trying to tell us, Pearl? Because if that's the case, then what's going on with Angie getting this credit card? Why does it, when we look at Myron and Angie's relationship, it seems like he's the paying simp? Why is he paying for an apartment for a girl who he's not even sleeping with? Really, I mean, why she got to sign an NDA? Like Myron, a lot of this stuff don't even make any sense, bro. Like this whole scenario is just weird. Like them sus arguments people are making against you, Myron, it just makes it more evident. Like the more we even think about it, why are you paying Angie just to live in your house without having sex with her, bro? Like, is a YouTube thing? Because I don't see the joke. I don't see how this works. But we got to call that out, Pearl. Like, what do we call that? She's definitely got more than 5 body counts. And why is Myron with her? Huh? Why is Myron with her? She definitely, if she's not getting it from Myron, she's getting it somewhere else. Okay, that's not my ideology. You guys are the ones that say that. So I can't do this, chat. I can't. We not even 6 minutes into the live stream. I can't do this, bro. I don't know if I can make it.
After women have had over 10 sexual partners, the chance of a happy marriage drops to merely 14%. Only 3% of women report waiting for marriage for a religious reason. A quarter of women have a mental illness. Over half of women between the ages of 18 to 29 have at least 1 tattoo. The average woman has at least $26,000 worth of debt. And on top of that, young women are officially out cheating and out drinking men. That makes marrying a woman today a higher risk than times of the past. But let's look at marriage. What benefits are given to men in marriage? 100 years ago, men would have gotten a debt-free virgin who gave him 4+ children and was expected to obey him. Unfortunately, now modern marriage is simply whore management. The majority of women are not known to be obedient wives. How do we know this? From one, we have phrases like, it's cheaper to keep her, and happy wife, happy life.
Wow! Because of phrases that... Stop it. Hold up. Stop it. This opening statement is already turning out to be a disaster. What are you talking about?
Just simply whore management. The majority of women are not known to be obedient wives. How do we know this? From one, we have phrases like, it's cheaper to keep her, and happy wife, happy life.
So the way we know that women aren't obedient wives nowadays, or could make for obedient wives nowadays, is because of these phrases that are out there. I mean, come on, y'all have heard the phrases, right? It's cheaper to keep a happy wife, happy life, right? These sayings are all over the place. So therefore, because of these sayings, it's proof that women aren't eligible for a relationship or marriage. Oh my. Oh, I'm done. I can't do this. Like, what are you talking about? Listen, they're just phrases guys use. It's not when guys are saying those phrases. Oh, it's cheaper to keep her. It's just jokes. That's what it is. It's not anything where they're meaning it seriously. Oh my God, I'm in this really dire situation, but I feel hostage, so it's cheaper to keep her. No, bro. Like, It's just a phrase guys use, and the married guys when they go out to bars and they joke around with their wives. It's a husband and wife joke type of thing. Even the wife get in on that shit, right? So again, you using those phrases and saying that is the direct reason why women are not obedient today. You're high. I don't know who's higher, me or her. Like, this is an insane statement to make.
If women were so obedient and good wives, why are all of the phrases focused on bending to the will of the woman? On top of that, we can look at women's choices during marriage. Some common problems that I have found is that women gain a significant amount of weight in marriage. On average, women gain 24 pounds within the first 5 years of marriage. It would be one thing if women were giving men 4+ children like they were 100 years ago, but on average, women give men 1 to 2 children. The other issue we have is sexless marriages. When we look at the boomer generation, a third of them are in sexless marriages. Many men have reported that women stop sleeping with them after they have children. How many men would sign up for marriage if they knew that they no longer would have sex? Their wives would no longer have sex with them. Now, while this is not the majority of those marriages, that is still not insignificant. Men are not even guaranteed an in-shape wife who sleeps with them. Now, let's talk about the legal ramifications of marriage and family for men. I do not say this with a happy heart, but there is simply no legal way to stop a woman who wants to divorce you from doing so. My logic is quite simple. When you pay people to do the wrong thing, more people will do it, even seemingly good people. Unfortunately, men, the divorce system heavily benefits women, and the stats reflect that. Women file for divorce 70% of the time, and 73% of the time, the reason given is irreconcilable differences. This does not make sense considering people date on average 3 years before marriage. What differences did you not notice in those 3 years?
I don't know, Pearl. How about you go get married and tell us?
This makes sense considering the rising body counts and how promiscuous women are going into marriage. This is not only devastating to men, but also deadly. Men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide following a divorce. Child support is tied to Social Security and Title 4D. And if you cannot pay, the government can take away your money directly from your bank account, ruin your credit score, take away even your fishing license, take money directly from your paycheck, and even throw you in jail. The best interest of the child is a principle to ensure government policies safeguard the rights and holistic needs of children.
Okay, that's the very essence of child support. Like, it's not a right. It's the child's right. They're entitled to that. It doesn't matter where the money's coming from. It's whoever has the dominant income. Now, if the income levels of both a husband and a wife are on similar par, then the payout's a little bit different, right? And sometimes the payout that you have to make is a lot smaller than the payout if you have, let's say, multiple kids involved, or you're at a higher net worth than your spouse. Other than that, it's a child's right. You need to start looking at it as that. It is a child's right to get that. Now, is that discounting the fact that there isn't like any manipulations or weird things that happen with the child support system? Absolutely, there are weird things that happen with it. All right, absolutely. But this is why when men understand how to actually fight the legal system with the tools that the legal system actually provides to fight them, a lot of times you realize how the turnout might actually be more favorable, because majority of the courts, I don't know about in the heavily left-wing areas, right? Because some of them can go a little extreme. But like, aside from that, most states, they are usually going for joint custody. That's like the main thing they go for. Then they look at the different stats to see, okay, what's the situation here? Is the dad on drugs, or is the mom on drugs? Is the dad, absentee? Does he not seem like he want to be around? Or they start looking at all these factors. But generally, if both parents are willing, okay, and if the husband really wants to, or not the husband, let's just say the single father, right? If he really wants to pursue this, he can get it, bro. I know. I have fought. I've used lawyers, okay? It's expensive, but listen, there's no expense when it comes to your kid, all right? And you'll be surprised how much the states are willing to work with you, okay? But you have to understand it's the child's right. Now, if you want to talk about how the money is spent, that's a different debate, and we can have a conversation about that. But if we're just talking about the topic of child support, Pearl, the process implemented to make sure that we safeguard children, according to your opening statement, is the child support system, okay? It's not perfect, but it's the best we got so far.
It is standard used in family law to make decisions impacting a child in matters of adoption, child custody, guardianship, and visitation. This principle means that any situation should be looked at from the child's point of view. This sounds nice in theory, but this law is weaponized against men all across this country. This means the best interest of the child, even in cases where you are lied to about paternity. For example, in California, if you were on the child's birth certificate after the age of 2 and you were lied to about paternity, you are on the hook for child support for 6
Now, this is the heavily far left states I was talking about, all right? California is one of them. They have some insane laws, and this is what the red pill should be about. Where are you motherfuckers, and where to fight? Where is the fight? You guys are sitting here all day talking about women's ovulation cycles. You're predicting this and predicting that. I have never seen a group of men spend so much time talking about women and still know nothing. Why aren't y'all using the money to fight the legal system in these states? Because I know y'all got fans in LA, or you got fans out there in California. So why don't you go ahead and fight? Use the legal systems, the tools that the legal system has provided, and go do that. Right? And what is it? $5,000 a month to get a lobbyist? You can get a lobbyist. Go ahead. I know y'all got the money. Why don't y'all do this? So you're sitting here whining, bitching, and complaining. Meanwhile, these feminists over here, AKA the red pill counterpart, there's a difference between feminists and red pill. They're like different sides of the same coin. But the reason why feminists are more effective is because they know how to organize way better than these pill popping tards. Okay, these pill popping tars, they don't know how to organize at all. They can't even organize their fucking schemes. All these little schemes and scams they do. They can't even organize that properly. Look how many bozos are getting exposed. If the manosphere understood how to organize and how to put stuff out there in the real world, y'all will be exactly the same like the feminists, because they know how to do it. They go to corporations, they lobby corporations. They do it, they have these little programs and projects that they're petitioning the boards. Why aren't y'all doing that? Instead, we got a bunch of men who think, oh, women should just obey us. I mean, remember back in the day when women just obeyed us? I mean, why can't we just go back to the day where women just obeyed us? I mean, come on. Why would I do it? No, you got to go fight for it. You want power, go fucking take it. Stop crying on the internet.
16 years. There are many ways that women weaponize the family court in order to drain resources from men, but I'm going to list a couple I have seen. I have seen temporary restraining orders set to separate fathers from children. Men can be kicked out of the house they pay for on a moment's notice with a restraining order. In that time period between her filing it and going to court, the mother can put the father on child support because technically she is spending more time with the children. What is not considered is that the woman spent more time with the kids because she had not been letting the dad see them due to the restraining order. This is not illegal for women to do, and there is no punishment. I interviewed one man in London who had spent over $100,000 fighting for his children and still had not seen them in 2 years.
Again, that is unfortunate what happened to that guy. And I am not denying that cases like this happens. There are devious people out there in the world. You can't control that. You can't control people at all. But I'm sorry, Pearl, one guy, that sounds pretty anecdotal to me, okay? One guy doesn't represent all of divorced men out there. Just saying. So just because you spoke to one guy and you got this perspective does not mean it's a perspective for other divorced men. Like, you need a significant study that has been peer-reviewed by actual professionals, not YouTubers and dating application corporations. I'm talking about actual data scientists, people that can gather data, look at it, and go ahead and make the proper conclusions. You need that peer review. Otherwise, this is all bro science. I'm sorry. All of this bullshit is bro science, and it doesn't mean dick to anybody.
I interviewed another man whose wife tried to transition his kid without his permission. I interviewed another man who, I interviewed another man whose wife was trying to transition his kid without his permission. It took him 3 years and over $50,000 to get custody. Imagine if he did not have the money. Many men go into bankruptcy trying to fight for their children. A case I covered in the state of Chicago, a father had paid over $1 million to his ex-wife during a divorce and was still thrown in jail because he could not keep up with his $10,000 a month payment. The child support payment is calculated by current earnings. So if a man loses his job, which many do due to the stress of divorce, he is still on the hook for child support even if he cannot afford the money. Child support is given based on the amount of time that children that dads are given with the children, and that women have incentive to not give men access to their children and are rewarded for doing so. Many men in this process find themselves homeless because they cannot keep up with child support payments. The loss of a child is one of the leading indicators of mental illness. Many men that I have interviewed have compared this to death. Losing a child is They would rather die than live a life without their children. And the stats show that many men pick death over this reality. Another thing that most do not know is that family.
Okay, she's right. Okay, this shit happens to men. It happens to men all the time. All right, I'm not saying it happens to all men out there, but this should happen to men, and sometimes it happens a lot to married men. Okay, but Pearl, if your argument is marriage is a bad deal for men, okay, I'm gonna tell you this. This also happens to men who never got married and had a kid out of wedlock. They also go through this shit with baby moms where the baby mom is playing games and don't want them to see their kids. So again, whether you're married or you're single, all right, and you have kids, if you're dealing with a vindictive woman, you're going to have the same outcome. So again, I don't think she understands. She's nulling her argument without even understanding she's doing that, because what you're saying that applies to married men also applies to single guys who have kids out of wedlock. Matter of fact, it's even worse with single guys who have kids out of wedlock. And that's where majority of a lot of these crazy fucked up cases come from, is when you have situations when there's no marriage. Like now, the guy's just out here. He's out here. It's harder with the parental rights. I mean, I'm not saying it's too hard, but it makes things a little bit more complicated. But they still get the same shit happening to them. So what exactly is your argument here?
Court is not based on evidence. It's based on a balance of probabilities rather than beyond a reasonable doubt. This means it is easier to allege that a man abused you in family court without evidence. Mainstream cases like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp show just how easy it is for women to ruin a man's reputation with no evidence. Many times the women are actually given free resources from domestic abuse centers in order to assist women in this. In many areas, the courts have alleged that the definition of abuse has changed in the last 50 years to include things like emotional abuse, financial abuse, and have also changed the definition of rape from forced sex to sex without consent. The problem you get when you change these definitions to be more broad is that women are allowed to say things like yelling is abuse and he did not let me spend $5,000 on my credit card, therefore he is abusive. I have seen cases where men were accused of raping a woman the first time they hooked up and they were married 10 years after. Women weaponize this against men. The problem you get with these definitions that are more broad, that women are allowed to abuse the system. As I said before, losing a child is like death to a lot of men. One area that we studied was veteran suicide. 44 veterans a day commit suicide, and over 400,000 men have died due to suicide in the last 25 years. To put it into perspective, since the Revolutionary War, 650,000 have died in battle. In 25 years, we have hit 2/3 of that. Terrence Popp has worked with veterans for 15 years, and through our personal research, I've found that 70% of veteran suicides have come in contact with family court in the last 5 years.
Oh, okay, yes, that is true, but just because bro, holy shit, I can't believe she's made. Veterans have way more issues to worry about, especially people who were former active duty and they actually saw some shit. Okay, they have all other things that add to their depression than the marriage. Okay, so it's not just that. Yeah, marriage is, some of them who are married, that's a problem for them, or sites, but that's not the sole reason that they got divorced. A lot of them are dealing with psychiatric issues. A lot of them are dealing with issues where it's physical. A lot of them are dealing with regret, pain. You just don't know. Right? Just to say, okay, marriage is part of it. Yeah, it's part of it, but there's also an umbrella of things that causes veterans to commit suicide. That is a serious problem, by the way. I don't see a lot of people talking about that, but it's not just to squarely lay the blame on marriages. That just discounts the veterans who weren't married but suffered consequences during fighting another politician's war. You're discounting those guys. It just doesn't, your argument doesn't make any sense, because a lot of more single veterans commit suicides out there if we're going to break down the facts. I know you're lumping all veterans together and she's not separating the married from the single, but if you separate that out, the numbers bear different. You can easily lie with these stats. It's so easy. There's a lot more than marriage, because then you have to figure out, okay, why the single veterans who were never married, why are they committing suicide at high rates? I mean, her opening statement is garbage, just pure hot garbage.
Family court is literally killing men every day, and nobody is talking about it. On top of that, fathers have to watch their mothers raise children in a way that sets up their children for failure. Single mother homes account for 63% of youth suicides, 90% of the homeless and runaways, and the majority of school shooters, where single father homes fare similar to two parents homes. I personally have interviewed men who had to watch a mother try to transition their kid. And I had one case where a mother's new boyfriend had accusations of being a pedophile, and there was nothing the man could do. Let's go over this again. The upside is that men get a woman who has slept with at least 4 other men and maybe 2 children out of the deal. On average, the woman will be 170 pounds and 5'3". Odds are she at least likely has 1 tattoo, some debt, and maybe even a previous child in tow.
Chat. I can't believe these pill poppers are saying a tattoo is a deal breaker for men when it comes to marriage. Like, she's talking like someone who has no fucking clue. Chat, she's talking like a person who does not have a clue. Tattoos are not a deal breaker for most men. This isn't the 30s anymore. Okay, what is it? What is it? The flapper girls? Is that what they used to call it? Right? Okay, we're not in those time anymore, bro. Listen, a little bit of tattoos are okay. Now, if you got tattoos covered up like that's like 80%, 90% of your body, then there's a conversation to be had about other things. Maybe, hey, is this your profession? Okay, cool. If you're not into that, you're not into that, right? But other than that, I mean, a little bit of tattoo is okay. I don't see what the fucking problem is. She's still hot. She's still, smart. Depend on your type of women. All right, I like the gorgeous, smart types. Okay, as long as you're beautiful and you got a brain between your ears, I'm cool with that. Right? If you got something working for you, I'm cool with that too. All right. A lot of y'all don't even know how to find women nowadays. That's your problem. Y'all don't know how to find women. Okay, because y'all are looking in the wrong places. Okay, you don't want a woman who is squarely depending on you. Okay, who's squarely, is all you want her to have her own shit. Trust me. Okay, because really, if she doesn't know how to take care of herself, how's she going to take care of your kids when you're gone? Because you're not going to be alive forever, right? How's she going to take care of your kids when you're gone? No, just think about that. She's going to run into the arms of another man. Why? Because she ain't got no training. You chose a woman who didn't have any experience in the workforce. All she knows how to do is to depend on another man. That's all she knows how to do. Depend on another man. So don't be surprised after you die, your kids are going to be calling another nigga daddy, okay? The minute, but not even a month after you're gone. That's just how that shit works. Get a woman who can do for herself, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. That usually means as a man, you got to step up, all right? You got to step up because you got to look at it. Even in these blue-collar areas, don't act like y'all men are filling these positions. Y'all are not doing it, okay? When we talk about military, most army recruiters, Navy recruiters, Marine recruiters, all these different branches, Air Forces, they're struggling to find good candidates because most of y'all bozos are out of shape. Pearl want to talk about women being out of shape for marriage. Y'all can't even be in shape to defend the country. There's too many problems here. Men have a lot going on, and if we don't talk about the root cause and squarely lay the blame on women, we are not solving our problems, and we're problem solvers. So this should be easy for us. When do we become blame shifters? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
The downside is you can lose half your assets, your children, your reputation, homelessness, and you can be put on child support, alimony, and even thrown in jail. Personally, I would never sign a business deal that encourages that kind of risk. But for whatever reason, men are encouraged to sign a business deal that does.
Okay. You literally finished with 1 second to spare. You crushed that. Well done.
Thank you.
For someone who's not used to time debates, you did really well. Okay. Trent, whenever you're ready, I'll click the 10-minute mark. Excuse me.
Let's go, Trent. By the way, okay, listen, I like the smackdown Trent gave to what do you call it, Pearl here, but by no means I don't agree with a lot of things he says. So I respect him for this debate, but he's one of them. Okay, so I'm not. This was glorious though, so we just don't put that as it is.
All right. Well, Pearl has the burden of showing that marriage is a bad deal for men, and all I have to do is show that she hasn't made her case. And notice in Pearl's opening statement, she never...
I want them, just to specify my point, I mean them tradcons, okay? Those conservatives that want to talk about traditionalism and all that bullshit. Well, what is the term? Tradcons. Yeah, he's a tradcon. I don't agree with the tradcons over here, bro.
Never cites a study of married men in general to see whether they think marriage is a bad deal. So to show that she's wrong, I'm going to point out 3 fallacies that Pearl makes in her arguments. So first, there's the wrong target fallacy. For example, Pearl talks about how marriage is a bad deal because men are sometimes mistreated in child custody cases. That's not unique to marriage. If you cohabit or even just hook up with a woman, you can still father a child and deal with custody issues.
Facts. I'm glad that was the first thing you brought up. Custody issues is not squarely, the fault of marriages. You could be single and still go through that. Most of my homies who are going through brutal child support scenarios right now are single men. They never married when they actually knocked their significant other up. They never got married at all. Okay, so they were single men who fathered a child, according to the Tradcons, outside of wedlock. And look how they're getting beat up in child support right now. He's absolutely right. So to just keep that blame squarely rested on marriage, this is fear-mongering, okay? Because whether you're not married or whether you are married, if you're dealing with certain things that involve a child, this is going to be the outcome anyways.
However, marriage makes a man the presumed father of the child with natural rights unmarried fathers don't have,
Boom!
Even though unmarried fathers can still be liable to pay child support. The children of unmarried men are 10 times more likely to be aborted. And if the child does survive the pregnancy, he's 3 to 6 times more likely to live in poverty.
Just like Fresh Prince CEO, one of the latest friends of Just Pearly Things here, okay? You over here get pressuring women to get abortions, you and your little weirdo fans, okay? This is part of it. So again, it takes two to tango here.
The hazards of unmarried, much less for married men. Another wrong target is women themselves. Pearl says marriage is bad for men because modern women are worse than previous generations of women. But that says nothing about marriage. If modern women are good enough for hookups that can result in children, or cohabiting relationships that superficially feel like marriage, but are far more likely to fail, then modern women are good enough for marriage, which has less harms for men. And Pearl can't use these stats to dunk on women because men are also worse than previous generations. Modern men are just as promiscuous and are even more overweight than modern women. A 2019 Experian study found that men carry more credit, auto, and mortgage debt than women. Millennial and Gen Z men have weaker grip strength and make less money than older men did at their age.
Boom! Mic fucking drop. This is what I've been telling y'all. And Trent, he put it together perfectly. You guys are telling these men to go out there and you guys got to be the providers. You guys have to be the protectors. Y'all don't even got the grip strength that men had back in the days, back in the times you trying to drag us back to. You men, listen, the men of today are unfit of men of the past. That's right, I said it. The men of today are just fronting, pretending like they are the men of the past, but they're not those men, because you pluck any one of these incel bozos in one of these pill-popping channels, and you take them back to the 1930s, okay? These guys won't last a day. They're not the same men, but they're grifting like they are the same men. Oh, we're providers. We're protectors. We already talked about y'all not even fit enough to protect the country, yet alone your houses, most of y'all. Now let's talk about the monetary aspect. He brought up a great point. A lot of men today are not making the same amount of money as men of the 30s. Hell, $1 was worth more back then than it is right now. Let's just be real. Let's be real. So instead of you guys adapting to today's scenario and coming up with modern solutions, we're just wishing, talking about what would it be like if we would just go back to the 30s, the 20s, live our lives in a traditional way. There's so many forces acting against that. You guys don't even realize it. If men, let's just say women decided all of a sudden, you know what? We're going to squarely depend on the men today. All right, let's say women collectively did that. And then we know some of these women with some of the movements that they do out here. All right, some of them are pretty dedicated. So y'all have to be careful what you wish for. But let's just say as a whole, these women decided, you know what? Men, you're right. Let's play your game, all right? This is the opposite of the drizzle, right? Let's play your game, men. All right, we want to submit completely to you, all right? You got to take care of everything. Okay, everything. In today's economy, guess what? A lot of average men, y'all who are advocating for this nonsense, okay, y'all won't be able to survive. Y'all find yourself having 2 jobs, some of y'all even 3 jobs, because some of y'all don't even have the basic skills to even get up to 6 figures. That's why there's not so many of us out there, because you guys don't have the skills to get up to 6 figures. A lot of y'all don't. There's a very small percentage of us out there, all right? But y'all will find out real fucking quick how hard and difficult it is in today's economy to take care of a family with 4 kids, let alone, we're not even talking about like, let's just say average family, 2 kids. That'd be difficult for a lot of men. It's putting unneeded pressure on men. And you want to talk about the suicide rate going crazy? It's going to be even worse. Your ideas are not adaptable in today's time. Okay, this guy is absolutely right.
Pearl has not shown that women are not good enough for men. Instead, the data shows men and women are both in bad shape compared to previous generations. But there's hope. Marriage is the best way for men and women to mature together and bring out the best in one another. Second, there's the anecdote fallacy. One sad story about a marriage does not show marriage itself is bad, because for every sad story Pearl can bring up, I can statistically bring up 2 to 3 good stories about happy marriages. And there are many stories about sad, sick, lonely men who never marry. Pearl cannot prove her case with anecdotes. She needs actual data that proves married men are worse off than unmarried men, but no such data exists. Even marriage skeptics will only argue at best that marriage doesn't increase happiness. They all agree that men who marry are better off concerning health, wealth, and happiness than men who never marry. If Pearl can't provide peer-reviewed data to prove otherwise, then her case fails. Third, there's the comparison fallacy. Instead of stories involving the risks of marriage, Pearl oftentimes just points to the risks of marriage itself and says that's a good enough reason to not marry. She says, just as you wouldn't fly on a plane that has a 5% chance of crashing, you shouldn't get married, even if it has similar low odds of divorcing. But if you look at the worst outcomes of one choice while ignoring the worst outcomes of another choice, that's the comparison fallacy.
Facts. He's not wrong. And a lot of these pill poppers, not just Pearl, they use the comparison fallacy a lot, right? Because, okay, for example, Fresh and Fit, they have OnlyFans girls majority of the time when they're talking about relationships or they're talking about female nature. Okay, they're using OnlyFans girls and getting opinions from women, some of them who either weren't married or were in odd relationships. Let's say they're married, but they do OnlyFans, right? They get perspective of these women, and not only that, but the show is manipulating a way to make them look dumb, right? Whether the girls are drinking and Myron's not, or something else is weird is going on, right? So that's what they have out there to sell you that one-sided image that most modern women nowadays are not good, because look at these women on the panel. Just based off your judgment off that, you should already tell, like, most women that you will meet, especially the one in the middle of Kansas, okay, she's going to be acting like this Miami thought right here. And that is not true, okay? You need to have a panel with all married women and their husbands sitting right over there, so y'all can't try no funny business. And let's get their perspective. Matter of fact, have husbands, have wives, have a show set, all right, and then have a conversation about those relationships. Matter of fact, there's so many things you could be doing to get the other side, but we don't do that. Instead, we have this one-sided fallacy. It just doesn't make any sense.
Fallacy. It's like someone who thinks driving is safer than flying because they only read a bunch of stories about plane crashes and never think about car crashes. Of course, flying is far safer than driving, and marriage is less risky than non-marriage. You cannot compare the best outcomes of non-marriage to the worst outcomes of marriage. To be fair, you must compare the typical outcomes in both cases, be it flying versus driving or marriage versus non-marriage. And Pearl exaggerates the harms of marriage and ignores the harms of not marrying. For example, according to the National Center for Family and Marriage Research, the median length of all marriages is not 7 to 8 years, as Pearl often claims. That's the length of marriages that end in divorce, not all marriages. The median length for all marriages is 21 years. And the divorce rate is closer to 35%, not 50%.
Boom. Yo, I'm glad that someone who's actually this is what happens when you have a proper debate, because now this is not Pearl's time to talk. You notice in most debate, Pearl will be interrupting with just random questions geared to throw you off your game, but you're not allowed to interrupt in this session. So he's just hitting her with facts after facts after facts, countering her narrative, right? Because it just makes perfect sense. It shows that all of her talking points is just one-sided. She is the biggest simp for all these incel dudes out of here, and you can't deny that.
80% was a future projection from the from the 80s that has since been falsified. In fact, we are now seeing the lowest divorce rates since 1970, about 14 divorces per 1,000 married women. For weekly churchgoers, the divorce rate is half the average rate. Also, just because 35% of marriages end in divorce, that doesn't mean you have a 1 in 3 chance of absolute misery. Divorce sucks, but people typically survive it intact. In fact, men do better than women.
He's actually not wrong. I've been divorced. Ever since I was divorced, like I'm not listen, it's just life's a little bit better, right? That I'm telling y'all right now, it's not that sweet for women. And all this, she gets child support and alimony. All right, alimony, that's a different subject. But child support, what? All of a sudden she's leaving you so she can, grab the state sponsored $480 a month child support because she can make it rich off of that. Come on, bro. That's not how that works. Most of these women, they end up like in very, very not so favorable situations. So a lot of times the men, they usually bounce back quicker unless the men, the mental game is not so good, right? They don't maybe they really got devastated emotionally throughout that divorce. But if a man who's an average guy, usually after you go through it, you bounce back. That is what it is. Yeah, you take a risk. It's like all right, I lost like however much in the stock market. Okay, we can recover. 2008, we can recover. It sucks. No one wants to lose their homes, but that's what happens when you sign, adjustable rate mortgages. I mean, this is what happens, right? 1 minute it's low, the next minute the interest is gonna, put you underwater. There's risks with everything you take, okay? But just look at the stats. It's not what these pill poppers are saying. 35%, sure, but the 50% a lot of these guys are quoting, you got to really look at the numbers because oftentimes they're things that they're living out.
After divorce, men's income increases by 20% on average, while women are twice as likely to fall into poverty after divorce. Alimony is only paid out in less than 10% of divorces. And according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the average child support payment is $441 a month, of which only 60% usually ends up getting paid. Moreover, women do not get child custody 90% of the time, as others claim. 95% of custody cases are mutually agreed upon outside of the courtroom. Women get full custody 40% of the time, men get full custody 20%, and shared custody makes up the remaining 40%.
Boom. I got shared custody. That is the majority of situations, especially if you're married. All right. That is the majority of the outcomes you're going to get is shared custody, right? Full custody, not so much. It's going to be pretty difficult unless you can prove either parties are, beyond a scenario where they can accurately take care of a child. And that usually involves drugs or gambling or any more serious things where it prevents you from being capable of taking care of a loved one, a child, right? So other than that, again, we all focus on the outliers in these pill popping spaces, and we never focus on the middle. Even when it comes down to talking about the relationships that women get into, right? Oh, these women just want the high value man. That's it. If you're not high value, you're SOL. All right, shit out of luck. Okay, it is what it is. No, okay, because what you're not realizing is, you got some girls who are going after, a high earning, a high status men. That happens. It's not a thing that men deny or anything like that. Men know this happens. But when we're looking at the whole thing as a picture, the vast majority of women who are average, guess what? They're getting with average men, okay? You don't have to be high value. You don't got to be all this different shit that these guys are promoting. Them promoting that is just for them to sell programs, courses on how you can be like them, but just be real. A lot of times, if you don't have the gumpture to do it, a lot of y'all not going to end up like these guys because the way they made the money were off of you believing that they got their money that way, and it was never true. I mean, we exposed that with Myron. Mr. I got 19 real estate properties. Nigga, we saw 7. Where the other 19 at? Oh, are you counting them doors and them units in there? You counting them units in there? Oh, well, okay, fine. You can count them, sure. But it's not 19 physical properties, my boy. What are you talking about? Okay, listen, you would expose all of this bullshit, all these ruses these guys put up to sell a course, because that's what the whole high value concept is supposed to be. I'm going to tell you this. Broke niggas are winning majority of the time. Sometimes even better than the average or high value dudes. Just being real. I mean, just fresh. Oh my God, these guys are idiots, bro. Y'all spending all that money all you could do is just go talk to a woman. Go talk to somebody, bro. It's much easier to learn game from that than Myron.
Women usually get full custody because men don't ask for it. In a Massachusetts study of 24,000 divorces, only 8% of men sought custody, and 94% of them got full or partial custody. Finally, a 2006 study in the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health showed that while divorced men were 27% more likely to die prematurely, 58% of never married men were more likely to die early. Never married men risk growing older and having few or no social connections. Pearl can tell lots of horror stories, apparently, about men going through messy divorces. And my wife, who is a registered nurse, can tell you all kinds of horror stories about men dying alone in the hospital, spending every day by themselves, staring at the same blotch on the ceiling because they had no one to ever come and visit them. Now, some men desire marriage and are unable to find a wife, which is tragic. But rejecting marriage out of fear is like the person who refuses to go to the hospital because he worries about medical errors, but doesn't think about people dying at home from easily treatable illnesses.
Boom, bro, this guy is laying it on thick, right? Laying the smackdown on Pearly thing, because he's right. He's absolutely right. This we got, if we're really gonna have this conversation about marriage being a good deal or bad deal for men, we need to consider all sides here, because there's a lot of perspective. A lot of these pill poppers, just because they're emotionally charged and running into these spaces, they are not aware of. Okay, because a lot of times it's worse off when you're single.
The comparison fallacy once again. That's probably why 65% of divorced men get remarried. 93% of men say they would marry their spouse again if they could do marriage over.
Donovan Sharp just got married. One of the biggest anti-single mama dudes out there on the pill popping spaces. Okay, got married to a single mother. What do we do with that? This is the guy who's done multiple streams. Him with who's that guy? Who's that other guy? Minister Jack. Church, check in. Church, check in. Yeah. Some of y'all weirdos, huh? I see y'all checking in for church. How's that going for you? Huh? You bozos. Y'all checking in with church over there? How's he doing when he's not getting knocked out of the fucking gas station, bro? Y'all are some weirdos. Check in. The church. Let me think about it. It's just these weird cult type things. I'm sorry, Minister Jap. You're not a minister, and your YouTube channel is not church. Okay. If anything, that's. Hey, you better pray to your father, because that is not the right thing you should be doing if you're religious, bro. I'm just saying. But this guy and Donnie Boy, these guys have done countless streams hating on single mamas. And look at Donnie, the end of the red pill, getting married to a single mother. So are these women really losing? Even if their own red pill leaders are marrying them, are they really losing? We got to be honest.
If Pearl is right, as she said in the past, that marriage is a death sentence for men, then why do most men voluntarily go back to death row after they've been released, i.e. divorced? Well, it's because these men correctly identify what Pearl has failed to grasp. Marriage is not bad for men. It's not a bad deal for men. In fact, marriage is typically a good deal for men. It's no wonder God told Adam in the book of Genesis, it's not good for man to be alone. And so he made Eve to remedy this problem. Now, to make it clear, it is a lie that half of all marriages end in divorce. The truth is that most marriages last a lifetime, and 80 to 90% of them identify as happy. A Gallup survey conducted between 2008 and 2020 of 800,000 adults showed that married people rate their well-being 12 to 17 points higher than unmarried people.
You hear that, Pearl? That's a large study with 800,000 adults. See, that's the thing these pill poppers don't understand, right? When it's we did the studies. Well, what are the studies? I talked to 1,000 women on my show. I talked to 2,000 women on my show, and this is the outcome of this. A large study. That's not even, bro. Some of these would involve millions of people. Over 800,000 people participated in the study. That's a study. Not on this, none of this bro science you're getting from 1,000, 2,000 people. Hey, Pearl, go talk to 800,000 people and then come back to us with your facts and your theories and your stats. All right, let's do. That's a real fucking study, and that was peer reviewed as well. You talking to 1,000 women over the span of your lifetime on YouTube has no bearing on the actual data or facts that exist out there. They're real studies that actually have involved a lot more people. This is where you can collect more accurate data because you have a larger sample size. It's how that works. 1,000 people that you've talked to over the span of 2-3 years, you've been in business on YouTube. I'm sorry, that's not a large enough sample size for you to be bold with your claims, yet alone taking it on Pierce Morgan. I wish she got this kind of pushback when she was on these different circuits, because maybe, just maybe, people were able to wake up and really listen to what this idiot is saying and realize that she's lying to them.
The General Social Survey from the University of Chicago, a gold standard in sociological research, shows that married men are twice as likely to rate their lives as very happy when compared to non-married men. And the majority of married men, in fact, I'd say 80% of them, identify themselves as happy. Married men also make 10 to 20% more money per hour, and they have more sex than never married men. Pearl says that men face sexless marriages, but the General Social Survey shows that unmarried men are twice as likely to have a sexless life than a married man.
Isn't that why the red pill exists? Because a bunch of single guys are looking for women? Hello! Smell the fucking mustard. It's true. Y'all are the niggas that are desperate. Listen, I've always said this, right? Married men do keep the brothels open, because a lot of these dudes that cheat on their wives or cheat on their women, they're usually married, okay? They keep the brothels open. It's not a joke, okay? I'm not saying all married men. I'm just saying there's some married men that engage in those behaviors, and we just got to be honest about that, okay? It's just true, all right? But the vast majority of men who ain't getting none are single dudes. And the proof is in the pudding. Look at how many dudes are following a lot of these pill poppers, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, collectively millions at that point, to learn how to get a woman in bed with them. Because it's so damn hard. A lot of guys don't even understand how to do it. They don't understand conversation. We've seen them at the yacht parties, right? Y'all just standing around there, wall sitters. Hello. Hi. Hey, how you doing? Hey. Right? No social cues, no fucking game, nothing. Yo, chat, this is what we're talking about. Y'all are single, so you come to these pill-popping spaces learning how to get girls. Married guys don't have to do that. They're too busy with their families. Y'all got all the time in the world, but still can't find you a girl. Ain't that surprising? Ain't that surprising? You got to go online to ask someone like Myron, of all people, how to get a girl. You let Fresh fool you with a story that he banged 3 girls in one night at an NBA party, an NBA player's birthday party. You let that bullshit seep through your mind because you single men out there are more the most desperate ones. Not all of them, not all the single men out there, but there's the good majority who out there who are extremely desperate, but they redirect their rage towards the opposite sex. And the sooner you recognize that, the better.
Studies also show that even men who end up divorced live longer, are economically better off, and are just as or even happier than never married men. Now, Pearl might say these studies only prove that happier, richer men get married, and unhappy, poor men don't get married. But when you look at the typical married man, he is not a 6'2" rich Chad. Moreover, if a man chooses to marry, then he needs to become marriageable, which involves developing positive traits that both make him desirable to women and improve his own self-esteem at the same time. But I'm not arguing that marriage makes people happy. I'm arguing against Pearl's claim that marriage is a bad deal for men and steals their happiness.
And he's absolutely right, because not just because marriage doesn't make people happy. There are some trials that you have to go through, some struggles. That's why it's marriage. That's why we celebrate people who've been married for very long periods of time, because we know being in a relationship for that long with somebody else is difficult because there's some back and forth. There's always going to be some bad times, but there are also good times because a lot of couples who are successful, they remember the goal. They remember the mission on why they got married. So it's not discounting the fact that there aren't trials with marriages. There absolutely is trials with marriages, right? Like in those phrases we're talking about, happy wife, happy life. I know I mentioned they're jokes, but those jokes, They stem from something that's real. Most comedy stems from something that's real. So he's absolutely right here. Okay, not married. No, not all marriages aren't happy. But it's the work that is involved in that's part of that journey that's fulfilling to people, and people love that, and they love it so much that even if they get divorced, they'll remarry again just for that purpose, and it's true, right? But it also comes with a risk, and we understand that, and that's what men are. We're guys. I mean, come on, we're fucking guys. We're risk takers. This is the shit we do, baby. I mean, come on. Would you rather risk what? You're paying $100,000 over the lifetime of your kids, your wife, your household? Maybe that's probably not even enough money, right? Because things go up in value. But would you rather risk that or be like one of these incels who is burning $100,000 on one night on some OnlyFans thought? Because that happens. If men are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on their families, it's going to internet hoes. Am I lying? Am I lying, chat? You let me know, because these men looks like they got their priorities redirected here. If it's not finding a legitimate partner, it's finding fake relationships online through OnlyFans models. Tell me I'm wrong. Most of y'all subscribe to these guys already.
That's just not true. In fact, marriage is the best. You can't interrupt when I'm talking.
You get a 5 minute after this. He's got 1 minute. You're okay.
There will be time. I'm excited for that. Okay. In fact, marriage is the best way for men to not just hang on to happiness, but to increase it. The Harvard study of adult development, which tracked people for 80 years, said good relationships were the #1 predictor of happiness. And it showed that men who married ended up happier and lived 7 to 17 years longer than men who never married. And that's a study for people over 80 years of their life. When I was unmarried, let me actually go through here. Well, yeah, when I was unmarried, I thought that having 2 folding chairs and a TV on the ground were appropriate living room furniture. But when you're married, your wife shows you something better, and she roots for you. A 2013 Harvard study showed that married men are less likely to get cancer, and married men are even more likely to survive cancer, showing that marriage is a good deal for men. So finally, I'd be remiss to point out neither men nor women.
It's better to be sick surrounded by family than be sick surrounded by nobody. A lot of guys, you're going down a single route, you will buy a dog and you will die alone, okay? I'm not saying you got to get married, but definitely understand that having being able to have the skills to find a good partner of the opposite sex or like, listen, that's all the key that matters, because you're not going to live forever. You're young now, or some of you guys may be getting to that point where you're getting into your middle years, okay? You're going to need somebody. So it's better to learn the skills now to find that than to wait until you're old and you die alone. Some of these guys, they die in their apartments. No one knows about it for months. You got to wake up. The internet is fooling you.
Men invented marriage. God invented marriage. He gave it to the human race. Christ raised it to the level of a sacrament. And Pearl would have to give overwhelming data to show that something that God gave us is actually a bad deal for men. And she won't be able to do that because the data doesn't support that. Indeed, for most men, marriage is the primary engine that helps them live a long, healthy, and happy life.
This time. All right. Good job, Trent. You have 5.
Look at Pearl. Look at Pearl.
Long, healthy, and happy life.
This time. All right. Good job, Trent.
She's like, oh, shit. I got to come up with a response to this. Oh, my goodness. I don't know how to follow up with that. He debunked all of my points. Yo, Oscar Perez, shout out to you for the 2, says, this was a bloodbath. Trent cooked Pearl here. Yeah. And we're about to see all of that right now. Shout out to you.
You have a 5 minute rebuttal, Pearl, whenever you're ready.
Wait, so how does do I ask him questions during the rebuttal?
That'll be after the break. This is basically your time. 5 minutes. He won't be able to interrupt you. You can try to refute the case he just made.
Got it.
It's so funny that all the debates Pearl has been on, including on Piers Morgan. That's why I say, Piers Morgan, shame on you, because with all that money and resources you have, you could have handled this debate a lot better. We're finding out that Pearl doesn't even know how a proper debate works. Chat, she don't even know what a rebuttal period is. Oh, wait, how does that work? Can I ask him questions? I really want to ask him questions so I can throw him off his game. Can I do that? No. This is the part where you have to rebut all of his claims he made against what your opening statement was. Welcome to a real debate, Pearl, that's well managed. This is how that works. I can't believe she was so confused here. Like, wait, so what's a rebuttal? What is that? It's like, she's so used to interrupting people. She's so used to, talking over people. Like, literally, she couldn't fathom that. Yeah, no, you don't get to ask questions here. Just respond to what he said. So meaning, AKA, you should have been taking notes on his points. Watch how this turns out for her.
Okay.
So, and would it help you if you saw the time?
Yeah, sure.
Do you mind putting that there? Just
I didn't know that was there.
Yeah, that's his phone. But whenever you're ready.
Okay. 1 second.
She is out of her element. Listen, by the time they get to the more cross-examination part, right, that's when she comes back into her element because she gets to interrupt and all that bullshit, right? But she is totally out of her element here, right? This is a real debate. This is what you do, not this weird shit we see on the line where you got two people on the panel that's screaming at each other. This is real. You got to learn how to go back and forth. You should have been taking notes, Pearl. Just being real. M. Dot, shout out to you for the 5. M. Dot says, who's more likely to get married in the next 5 years? A post-war porn star or Pearl? I'm going with the porn star. I mean, let's be honest here. How many porn stars have we seen get marriage proposals on the internet? How many marriage proposals has Pearl got? I'll wait. No, we want to be real. Let's be real. I'll wait. How many? Her daddy right now is offering 9 acres and a mule. The mule is her. Anybody that want to take on this mule and 9 acres worth of land, all right, congratulations. All you got to do is marry Pearl. And you got it. Hey, brothers, she's interested. I'm just letting y'all know right now. She is interested, especially more of the husky type. If you're one of those husky brothers, right? She's right into that, okay? So I'm letting you know right now. Hey, Mo. Big Mo, she's looking at you, bro. Hey, you thought she joined Fresh and Fit for Fresh? Huh? Nah, she came from Mo. She wants some Mo loving, all right? So, Big Mo, hey, you're her type. Just throwing that out there, brother. All right, good luck.
One thing I noticed in your arguments is that you constantly attribute all of the positive things that happen in marriage. You just automatically attribute them to women.
You attribute all the negative things that happen in marriages to women. He could just say the same thing about you. She's out of her element here.
You automatically attribute them to that marriage is the cause. I would disagree with that. I would say it's a bad deal because at the end of the day, women are paid to leave. You never addressed any solutions that you have. What solutions does the church have? Women don't want to be married.
Pearl, what are your solutions? Because you want to talk about problems and blame women all day. Where are your solutions? You notice how we don't hear any solutions from any one of these bozos. You notice that, right? Where are your solutions, Pearl? That's a real question. It's just problem because the reason why problems are all over these people's mouths is because problems are easy to talk about. Everybody loves talking about problems. Nobody talks about a solution, though. You didn't. I mean, they're telling you right now, their solution is marriage. You're saying it's not. Okay, what's your alternative? Because you can't be a pill popper, all right, talking about, hey, men and women, you can't get married, okay? Okay, fine. If that's the case, what's your solution to single men who are also facing custody battles? Single men who are also facing high suicide rates? Single veterans who are also facing the same dilemma? What is your solution to that? And you ask them, they got no answers. Because these guys are geared to sell a narrative. Pearl, you're getting exposed. And this is bad. This is just real bad.
Men cannot make women marry that do not want to be married. Women are getting STDs. Women are getting abortions. The majority of women today are not marriageable. They're overweight. They're out of shape. And, saying that marriage is good isn't going to change that, isn't going to make women want to be wives. The next thing that I noticed that you said was that unmarried men are more likely to have a sexless life. Obviously. Obviously.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm glad you think that's obvious. But again, what is your solution for single men in sexless marriages? Not sexless, in sexless relationships, right? What do you have to say with that? I mean, they can't even be in sexless relationships because they're single. All right. What do you have to say? What is your solution for guys who are single and are not currently having sex? Isn't that the majority of the pill popping space? Isn't that the reason why a lot of those guys are there? Because they don't know how to get laid. What about them? It seems like these guys need more of the help than the married guys right now. So again, these questions can be flipped on you, Pearl. And also, Pearl, have you taken no advice from Brittany Venti? What did she tell you about your hair? Look at it. It's all sticking together over here, and it looks like it's all greased up. You didn't wash your hair before you came on the show? Like, what did she tell you about wearing dresses like this? Why are you wearing this polka dotted trash bag on your body? You know you have an interesting body shape, Pearl. All right. You have to wear certain types of outfits for that to work for you. All right. Not just you, but your skin. You're too pale. There's so many things. Listen, sometimes, women, I know you hate women, Pearl, but women got some good ideas on how to be presentable in the public space, because you're looking crazy out here. You're looking really crazy. I'm not gonna lie, chat. She's looking insane. Like why is she now? Just wash your hair, put on some light makeup. All right. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this polka dotted dress you got on, but let's just get some fitting clothes. I don't know. So, hey, ladies in the chat, can somebody help her out? We need an extreme makeover operation over here. Like we need that. She is looking like, come on, Pearl. Is she? Part of me thinks she's doing this on purpose. Part of me thinks this is part of the grift, right? Because she's probably trying to say, oh, well, I'm not like these other TradCon women who are like all dolled up, because, I mean, that's the trend. Like a lot of these, y'all don't understand how big the TradCon trend is getting right now. There's a lot of women on TikTok out here promoting the traditional conservative life. And a lot of people are realizing it's not all that it crept up to be, because guess what? Abuse happens in these relationships. So a lot of the women, they're not telling the truth, okay? But again, going back to it, Pearl, you want to talk about women looking good for their husbands. You're supposed to be a potential catch for a man. Why aren't you doing your part? This is why you're 28, almost 29 years old, and you're still single. You're not making yourself look presentable. So go back and watch Brittany's video, because you're gonna need it. Go back and watch her video and learn how to style yourself, girl. Like these appearances are getting crazy now. I think you're doing this on purpose.
Men that cannot attract women obviously are not. Duh. And you never address that men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide after marriage. Even if it's a 5%, 1 out of 50. Even if it's a 1 out of 50 chance or 1 out of 100 chance that you commit suicide, that's negligent. That's negligence. Any car would be recalled if 1% of people died. I just think at the end of the day that I would never sign a deal that one party is paid to leave, and you're not addressing the lack of quality of women that are on the market today. Men cannot make women want to be wives.
What?
And if women don't want to be wives, basically, it's not gonna happen.
Pearl,
the other thing is
reasons that women don't want to be wives is because they got tattoos, they're overweight, and what is the other reason? The couple other reasons that you mentioned. Those can be applicable to men as well. Like I don't get it.
That if marriage is such a good deal, why aren't men signing up? Good products, technically, they get off the market quickly. Men naturally, they want to do things that make sense. And the issue that you're going to get is that, again, the quality of women is lower than ever before. The cost of marriage is higher than ever before. And until that changes, until some of the laws change, it is just not a good deal for men.
You still have 2 minutes and 41 seconds if you'd like to keep going.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
She's out of her element, chat. She's completely out of her element. Bro, this rebuttal was ass. It was trash, bro. Because all the stuff you're saying he didn't address, he actually addressed it in his rebuttal, minus the solution part, right? I mean, he did talk about his solution was marriage to a lot of these things, but to some of the other issues, right? Marriage isn't like a single solution to it. So I'll give Pearl the dub on that one. But still, I mean, come on, Pearl. You got 2 minutes left. Lay out your case. He's going to destroy you. You realize that, right? Like, this is great. She's out of her element here, chat. She's completely out of her element. This is bad.
So you have a 5-minute rebuttal, Trent, whenever you want to begin.
Sure.
If you want that, you're welcome. Ready?
All right.
Go for it.
All right. So I want to focus on one very clear fact that refutes Pearl's case, that she has not cited any studies looking at men and seeing what do they think. I mean, if marriage is such a bad deal for men, we don't need Pearl to tell us that.
Oh, shit. Oh, you know it's getting bad. You know it's getting bad. He's right, though. Yo, Pearl, where are these studies? Huh? not the ones you're citing because we know it's bro science. Where are these studies? Yo, you're out of your element here, Pearl. This is crazy.
Why don't we just ask men themselves? Ask married men, were you given a bad deal? Were you given a raw deal? You go,
bro, you notice they don't do that. You notice none of them do that because it's to sell a narrative. Pearl in 1 year went from a fresh and fit hater to pretty much the female Andrew Tate in 1 year. That's what happens when you let weak men speak for you. They vote in people like Pearl. That's what the red pill space is all about. It's filled with weak men. If you want any more evidence that the men in these spaces are weak, I'm telling you that right now. You got all these other eligible male role models that are, I'm not talking about fresh and fit. I'm talking about the guys that are out there that are eligible, that actually want your success, right? You skip out over all of those guys and you elevate a woman like Pearl. It shows you guys how fucked up your mentality is. Even though you hate women as much as you want, you love them so much deep down that you would elevate one to the top of the goddamn planet as long as she's saying what you want to hear. Y'all have serious mental issues. For a lot of what you say about women and your talking points for a lot of you incels out there, Pearl, she is that type of woman. But y'all elevate her to the space. Why? Because she says everything you love. And deep down, you love women as well. Even though she's may not be as attractive as some of the other girls you see on Fresh and Fit, it doesn't matter. She says the right things. She is the representation of your fucked up psyches. Y'all need to grow up and wake up because this year is getting weird.
Go online, you go to Amazon, you go to all other kinds of places. You can see people write product reviews and saying whether they got a bad deal out of something. And you should probably trust someone who actually tried the product and wrote a review instead of someone writing reviews about a product they've never tried before. And I've already shown.
That's Pearl. Never been married, but let me tell you all about marriage. I mean, let's just be real.
On the data that married men identify as being more happier than unmarried men. They live longer. They're healthier. So marriage is a good deal for them. It certainly isn't a bad deal for them. They get many benefits out of that. And Pearl has not refuted that. All she's been reduced to saying is that marriage is a bad deal for men because apparently women aren't worth marrying, which is just not true. She's pointing out flaws in women, but she gives a pass to men. It's a kind of reverse form of simping, if you will, because men also fall under this. So let's talk about some of the things that she brought up. About the issues of being sexless, saying that 20% of marriages are sexless. That's only if you include senior citizens in the entire framework. As I said, the General Social Survey shows that unmarried men are twice as likely to be sexless as married men.
Twice as likely. And it's true. Look at these pill-popping spaces. They're filled with incels that can't get laid. I know I'm saying this a lot, but it's true. Otherwise, these incels wouldn't be here if they knew how to find themselves a girl, yet alone a wife. Let's just be real. Majority of guys who are not having sex are single men. Maybe you should start listening to the guys who are in relationships. Maybe you'll find out a thing or two, huh? Maybe if you learn how to get into one relationship, you can understand the dynamics between men and women. Maybe, right? I don't know. But to me, he's spitting facts. More deep with the flash out there. He says, interesting show topic outside of RP and scammers. Can we do something on the rise of Ozempic use, side effects, and long-term usage? Just throwing it out there. Yeah, that could be a possibility. Yeah, I'm not ruling that out. Yeah, Ozempic is like absolutely terrifying right now with some of the side effects, and people are just, and that's one of the things. There are a lot of situations that are affecting us right now. A lot of people are not talking about. You're absolutely right. Right? You get what talking about, like hoarse in your voice or the lump in your neck or whatever it is. It's some crazy shit.
So if you're a guy and if that's something that is important to you in your life, marriage is the covenant through which sex makes the most sense. You have the most access to it. And it's the safest and best thing for you and for the children that will proceed from your union. She made a big deal about weight. Women are overweight. Women gain 20 pounds.
Wales. Sound like a fucking overgrown turkey. Wales. Like, Pearl, have you stepped on a scale recently? I mean, come on, let's just be real.
In marriage, she's probably referring to the Gordon Larson 2009 study on that. But that same study showed that married men gain 30 pounds over the same period. Unmarried cohabiting women gain 18 pounds during that period, and single women gain 15 pounds during that period. So all that proves is as we get older, instead of growing up, we tend to grow out.
He's not wrong. Listen, beauty doesn't last long. Yeah, attractive is a big motivator when it comes to, finding a partner. But when you're talking about prolonging a relationship, beauty fades. People get old. Skin gets saggy. People get the guts, they get the couch bellies and all the different things, right? It happens as you get older. Your cells aren't as strong as they used to. That's just how life is. So over time, you have to be looking at more than just beauty. Beauty is one of those things, okay, fine. In college, sure, maybe you're out and about, you're doing things. Sure, you want the hottest girl. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, you want somebody with a character that's down for you. Because if you don't have somebody with those good character, well, guess what? That beauty is going to fade any day. And you might just realize a couple things. One, either you're a shallow fuck, or two, she never really cared about you because all she cared about was for your looks. And that's the thing you run into. You need to start looking at people's characters. But these guys in the pill popping spaces, they'll tell you, oh, no, that's sipping. Yeah, you tell a woman, you like her for her mind and you think she's smart. Women can't be smart. They're women. How dare you say that, right? You're wrong. You're wrong. And also, you need to be looking at other characteristics very closely because beauty fades, my boy. Yo, Brian Scotty GLL, shout out to you for the 5. Says, sup, Duke, stay on their neck. Shout out to you. Hey, let me know. Yeah, we're still on for Friday, but shout out to you, brother.
That's just life. And it's nice as you get married to have someone else to grow up and out with you. And mature people recognize that and don't just reject marriage because of a biological fact of reality.
I agree.
Women don't want to be wives. There's no evidence Pearl gave to support that conclusion. At least I can look at anecdotally. Think about it in your own life. How many times have you heard a girl lament that her boyfriend, she'd love to get married, but her boyfriend doesn't want to get married or he's dragging his feet? How many times have you can't interrupt them until the time is over. How many times have you heard a guy say, oh, I really wish I could get married, but my girlfriend's just dragging her feet? Women are the ones, women control access, put it crudely, women control access to sex and men control access to marriage. That's how it's worked traditionally and it still works today. Pearl asked, if marriage is such a good deal, why aren't men and women signing up for it? Well, that's like asking if exercise is good for you, why don't more people go to the gym? Why is the gym usually empty?
That's facts. Yo, he's spitting right now, bro.
Because marriage is hard. You have to say no to a lot of things as a man. If you choose to get married, you have to say no to things your little lizard brain tells you are good, like trying to hook up with as many women as possible.
Yo, that's facts. It's hard. These things are tough, right? Just like going to the gym. That was a great analogy, right? Because you see these bodybuilders, you see some of these guys who are, they go to the gym, they got a regular schedule. They're not going. I mean, you're going to the gym, you're beating your muscles up, right, just to get stronger. But the training, the exercise, the work that it takes, it's very strenuous. A lot of times it's challenging, depending on where you are, right? Again, it's just one of those things where people who do it, they doing it because there's a commitment there. Your commitment to look good, the commitment to their bodies, a commitment to their health. It's the same thing with marriage. There's going to be bumps and bruises and, things and shindigs along the way. But at the end of the day, it's just one of those things where as long as you keep the focus in mind with the commitment, you're good, right? That's what it is. And obviously there's certain things you can't control, right? You can't control for like infidelity. You can't control for that. It's up to you how you handle that. But at the end of the day, right, marriage takes work. It takes a lot of work, just like working out. Pearl has never been married. She doesn't know what the work entails, okay? Because sometimes there are couples out there, one of them, they get cheated on. Let's say it's the wife gets cheated on, and she'll be okay with it. There's situations like that happening. Why? Because the commitment factor is more important than some trick he decided to spend the night off with. Yeah, she's going to be pissed off at him. She's never going to let him have it down, right? But still, it's one of those things where she shows her commitment better. Now, for me, it's I don't know, like somebody cheat on you, they broke the sacrilege. You gotta the sacrament, not sacrilege. The sacrament, right? They broke it. You gotta go. You gotta get out of here, right? I don't know. It's grounds for divorce if you ask me. But there's some people out there who have way more commitment than me, right? They will stay in it even after infidelities and all these other issues. So people got to really keep these things in mind. Shout out to Fairy of Light with the 5. Shout out to you for the super chat. Says, Duke, so happy to see you. Shout out to you. I'm happy to be here. I'm sorry to say, but nobody can convince me anymore that Myron is straight or that Pearl is not a troll. It's all sus. I'm with you on that one. Listen, I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of sus shit that Myron does that one might find very interesting. He still has to explain this photo over here, right? He's got to listen. Myron's got a lot of explaining to do, but I don't think he explained that because, again, the more evidence that comes out that he might be sus, the angrier he gets.
Again!
See, I told you. Don't get this man mad. All right, we don't want it again.
So people probably don't sign up for it because they don't realize the benefits, and they listen to the lower part of the brain instead of the rational part of the brain that could read studies covering hundreds of thousands of men showing that they're happier, live longer, and have more sustaining, fulfilled lives than being unmarried. So some of the things that, when Pearl brings up, that divorced men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide, she's probably referring to the Kipoosa 2003 study.
He knew the exact study she was citing. That's how you know this is about to be brutal.
That's not men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide who are divorced. They're 9 times more divorced men are 9 times more likely to commit suicide than divorced women.
Wow. You notice the context you guys don't get when these pill poppers spit their little facts, their bro science, right? They're saying, oh, men, when you get divorced, the suicide rate is a lot higher. It's higher all around if you get married. No. That particular study you were citing was comparing divorced men to divorced women. Okay? Not all married men. Like, oh, my. This is what I'm saying. You can easily lie with statistics. That's why when these guys come out here and claim, "Oh, we like the facts. We're the party of the facts and the evidence and whatnot." Just looking at the so-called evidence that they bring forward, you can tell they're super emotional. A lot of the stuff is emotional. This is what happens when you run up against a rational argument. You start to realize, okay, there's some things left out of the picture. Okay, when you're comparing divorced men who are already with the mindset of committing suicide versus divorced women who already have that mindset of committing suicide. Okay, divorced men are more likely to commit suicide, but that's also a given. The reason why that's a given because we already know men are more likely to follow through with suicides than women. So we can already understand why that stats for men is way worse than women. It's because, women will do it, right? And a lot of times it's not something that would really lead to the instant death. Versus men, they got no problem putting a bullet through their head, especially when they feel like it's all done. Like life is over. They're doing it, right? I'm not saying that there aren't women that do that, but overwhelming case, men choose the crazier, more insane, violent ways to delete themselves off this planet. Okay, so it makes sense why that stat is a lot higher for men. But you see how we miss out a lot of context here. Shout out to this dude.
But that's only because men are just more likely to complete suicide anyways than women. They tend to choose more violent means to do it. So, but when you look at the data, never married men are still just as, if not more likely to commit suicide than divorced men. So that's the comparison fallacy once again. You talk about all of the risks related to marriage, and there are risks, but there are greater risks to being not married.
Absolutely.
So that shows marriage is not a bad deal. And as I said before, if marriage is such a bad deal for men, if it's so bad, why do 93% of men say they're willing to remarry their wives again if they had the chance?
Boom. Why? And this goes to M. Super Chat. Shout out to you, M. for the 5. M. says about 86% of millionaires are married with 2/3 of their first marriage, or 2/3 on their first marriage. People with the most to lose appear to be married at a higher rate. Thank you. This is what they don't tell you about high-value men. High-value men, majority of them are married. There's a reason why. Single men, they suffer. Not saying all the time, some single men are living it up, but majority of the time, single men are suffering. Married men, on average, not really. So if these guys are telling you to be high value, truly be high value, why isn't getting married part of their talking points, knowing fully well that majority of these high value men are married? These guys that are 6 figures and above, millionaires, they're married. Some of them are on their second marriages. I don't agree with Kevin Samuels a lot, but he talks about this too. How high-value men, they typically are married. They're taken. Some of the single ones running around here, some of them aren't really any good. The good ones are snapped up. The good catches. Not y'all fronting to be catches online. The good catches. The good high-value catch, because men are the catch, right? They're taken. Some of them snapped up out of college. You don't even know. So I'm saying, why is that part left out? Raul Tomasi claims to be a high-value man. He's married. Why isn't he telling you to go get married? It's do as I say, not as I do, huh? That's what we live at. Shout out to M. Dot. But yeah, you're right. High-value men, they get married. They ain't got time for that because they have a lot to lose. Single men, there's a reason why you're single. Just being real with y'all, bro.
Why do 65% of divorced men choose and go and get remarried? It's because they recognize maybe someone wasn't right for them, but marriage was still right for them.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to have cross-examination.
Her really wishing at this point she used all of her 2 minutes. I guarantee she's probably sitting there, damn, I wish I used the last 2 minutes. But we about to get into it. This is the cross-examination part. I think they're about to get into the cross-examination part. Or no, Pearl's going to rebuttal to that, and then the cross-examination. But it's going to get crazy here, bro, because Pearl absolutely loses it.
And Pearl, you'll have 20 minutes to drill Trent with questions, follow up whatever you want to follow up on, and then Trent, you'll have 20 minutes. So if you're watching right now, please stick around. Let us know how you think this debate is going in the live chat, and we'll be right back. I want to tell you about a course that I have created.
Thank you. I don't do courses.
150 different countries. Okay, so we are going to go into a time of 20-minute cross-examine, and I'm going to explain what it is for our viewers, okay? So Pearl's going to begin. And in cross-examine, she is free to lead the discussion however she wishes. She is welcome to interrupt Trent, to redirect Trent however she pleases. This is her time. So
says, I get to interrupt? Oh, finally. Oh, finally. I've been waiting on this day. The guy was just hitting me with facts, and I don't get to interrupt. Now I get to interrupt. Oh, thank you. She's probably excited. I get to interrupt.
It's not considered rude if she does that, and vice versa when Trent does that. So let's see. Whenever you're ready, Pearl, you can begin with your 20 minutes.
1 second.
And if you'd like, I can let you know when you have 3 minutes left or something.
Okay, 1 second. Okay.
No worries. Take your time.
Trent got that smirk like, yeah, you're going to need all the time you got, girl. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Do you think that women should be obedient to their husbands?
Yeah, I think that they should be obedient to their husbands when their husbands give them a rational request or directive. But I think that husbands and wives should lead each other to Christ and to the goodness of their family.
So what do you define as rational?
In accord with reason. So something that doesn't go against what reason would dictate.
Can I have an example?
Of
so like I'm assuming crimes.
Of something that's rational or irrational.
Yeah, irrational.
Yeah, if a husband says
like obviously no crimes, right?
Yeah.
Here comes interrupting. Pearl cannot help herself. This is how she wins debates. She has to interrupt you.
Or if a husband says, I want you to lose a massive amount of weight, for example, that would put if your husband wants you to do something to change your body that would put your health at risk, I would say that's irrational.
Okay, but a normal amount of weight would be fine.
I would say I think it's fine for husbands and wives to want each other to be healthy, but it's very quickly that if a husband or a wife asks for a person to be of a certain weight, that can easily be more of it out of a desire for vanity than for the other person's well-being.
What about health?
What about health? I think it's good for husbands and wives to want each other to be healthy.
No, but I'm asking the husband. Why do you always bring it back to the husband? Because I'm asking about the wife. I didn't ask.
Why are you bringing it back to the wife? I mean, again, what is that? What kind of argument even is that? What are you talking about?
Ask you about the husband.
Because I'm
saying for the husband, can he ask that his wife stays a certain weight? Is that rational?
It's rational for him to ask her to be healthy, but staying at a certain weight your entire life, that's not necessarily going to be healthy. Like
it's not feasible. People get old. They get their bodies change. They get pregnant. Okay, there are other things that affect the weight. As long as they're healthy and living a healthy lifestyle, they're fine. But having to maintain a certain weight, do you know how crazy that is? Like you honestly don't know how crazy that is. There's a lot of things you got to be doing, and that's stressful. Okay, but as long as you guys are leading a healthy lifestyle, you're fine. You're working out regularly. You're eating healthy. You're dieting properly. You're going to be fine, right? But you're sitting here saying, oh, baby, you got to be 110 pounds. All right, you can't be more than 110 pounds because then I'm not a happy husband. I got to divorce you. Okay, I got to divorce you because according to Pearl, all right, if you don't stay at 110 pounds, which is my desired weight, okay, I don't care if you have a baby. I don't give a fuck. Even when you have a baby, you're going to be at 110 pounds. Matter of fact, you're going to be at 100 pounds with that baby. I mean, just insane nonsense that these guys are doing. Stop it, okay? You got to adapt, okay? Relationships are not stagnant things. They're going to be the same forever. No. People change. Nature's change. You got to adapt to that. Yo, Janet G with the super chat, shout out to you, says Pearl and her ilk discourage men from pursuing marriages, but in the same breath, want women to aim for marriage. How does that even help marriages? Facts. It's because they're trying to, again, it's this uneven nonsense that they're doing. First of all, it's the grip because she's the biggest simp for men out there. Incels. Let's just be real. Not for men, because you don't speak for me. But you speak for these incels out here. She's the biggest sim for them. But yeah, because they want the women to do something, right, that the men are privileged not to do. They're saying, essentially, what they want these women to come out to basically wear their souls on their sleeves for these men to take advantage of. And we know there are demons out there. Look at the one we just got done dealing with. All right, you got a good woman who's sitting there trying to say, hey, you know what, Fresh, I'm going to give you everything. I'm going to give you everything, Fresh. Hail Mary. Here you go. Let's dump it to the next guy, right? That's the mentality. That's what a lot of men, that's the mentality on, especially if their daddies are saying you got to sleep with at least 50 women or more. Too many problems with this. You got to counteract the narrative that your friends are putting out there. This is why we criticize them a lot, because their advice are leading men to be even more single than they ever were before. More single, more porn addicted. And by porn addicted, because a lot of the people who are on those shows are OnlyFans women. And what happens after the show if these women last and don't get Frank Castle? Well, they get to shout out their Instagram. Then these guys go on to Instagram, find the OnlyFans, and the guys subscribe. We got proof of that. There's a direct connection to a lot of these guys and the OnlyFans subscription. It's huge. You guys are the problem. So, Pearl, if you want a solution, start with your team. Check them. Say, hey, I don't appreciate y'all making mothers out of wedlock. I don't appreciate y'all spreading messages that marriages aren't the end goal. Because at the end of the day, married people are doing better than single dudes. Matter of fact, most of y'all are single, so we should help you get married. That's what y'all should do. But instead, they're teaching you how to get laid. Not find a relationship, not learn how to be with a human being, just to get laid for a night. Something so meaningless, so frivolous, so empty. That's what they encourage. The vapid, empty, materialistic bullshit that wouldn't matter in 10 years, 20 years. That's what they're doing. This is just life. And if we don't have a narrative counteracting this, a lot of men are going to be led astray.
Oh, I want you to always be 120 pounds. Like, hey, I got pregnant. Oh, I'm kind of getting past that now. I don't like that. That would be irrational.
He would not be allowed to do that under your thought.
I think it would be insane if a man said that his wife needs to stay a certain.
Why? Why? Like, what's wrong with men having standards? What's wrong with that?
Pearl, you do realize that that's absolutely, like, literally there was a joke in The Office where BJ Novak says some supermodels lose weight when they're pregnant. That shows that he's just an insane chauvinistic person. To demand that a wife stay at a certain weight, even though as you get older, you naturally gain weight. And especially when you get pregnant, you gain at least 9 pounds of weight. That would be insane to demand that someone stay at a certain weight.
Women lose it all the time.
I fail to see how any of this is relevant to marriage, by the way.
What I'm trying to understand is your mindset. So why can't men have standards in marriage? Because if you're saying that men can't...
The same reason why y'all clown these women for saying they want a high-value man. Y'all clown these women and saying, I want my man to make 6 figures. I want my man to make $1 million if I get with him. Y'all clown them. But it's just their standards. So why shame women for having standards? This is the inconsistency we're talking about here, Pearl. Because if you're going to blame women for doing one thing, you also have to say, okay, men, let's just be real with our standards here. That's all we're saying. Just be real. Let's be honest. Because we just watch y'all have podcasts where y'all railing against these women. So, okay, if we're getting mad at men for not wanting all these things, then why shame these women for wanting the same thing, right? Who doesn't want somebody at their best? Everybody wants that. Think about it. If you're a mother, you got a son. Wouldn't you want your son to date the best possible woman out there? Of course. Of course you'd want that. If you're a father, you got a daughter, wouldn't you want your daughter to date the best possible man she can find? Of course. So then why is it wrong when these hip-hoppers are saying, oh, well, yeah, a woman who wants a better man, that's just selfish because, I mean, what about the average blue-collar guys? They're not looking at us. Oh, you're crazy. You guys are crazy. It's the double standards. The double standards we're talking about. Orange Cat Energy. Hey, yo. What's that mean? Yo, Shanti105 says, heartless heifers are getting fishing license snatched. How cruel. Hey, we got to get Pearl's whaling license taken away. I think that's what we ought to do because I can't stand her saying whales, right? We can't stand that. That's done. KS with the 5, shout out to you. KS says, Pearl is stereotyping women, but they have different mindset. The body count, no women is counting. Statistics are not always authentic. Facts. If women say, oh, my body count is this on a stat, how do we even know they're telling the truth? Right? Again, even these numbers, they're not feasible, right? Again, but you can get as close as you can. Don't get me wrong, right? You can get an accurate idea, not an accurate point, but I get it. Right. But again, these guys are obsessed with body count. It's just like y'all are wasting time. Right. Because you think that body count is tied to, if she's going to be promiscuous or not. Not oftentimes is the case. OK, you got to really bring out those studies because your studies you're citing do not bear it out and they're not peer reviewed. These are Roll Tomasi's I am fucking the rational male studies. That's what it is. It's the most irrational thing I've ever seen.
And have standards in their own marriage. Like this is you're saying it's irrational for a guy to demand his wife stay a certain way. Why? Why is that wrong?
To stay a certain way during their entire marriage.
Why? Why is that wrong?
Because
I've seen women do it.
Would you like me to answer the question?
Just go ahead.
Okay.
It's anecdotal, Pearl.
Because biologically, our bodies change over time. They'll naturally gain and lose weight in different circumstances. And your worth as a spouse, whether you are a husband or a wife, is not derived by your weight. That's just a shallow thing. Now, I think that both husbands and wives should encourage the other should encourage.
It's your job to be attractive.
I think husbands and wives should both maintain attractiveness.
Right, but why do you always have to bring it back? Because why do you only focus on women? Right now, because we're asking about
this. Right. Why you always say, why do you always have to bring it back to the men? And why? Why are you holding men accountable? Why are you holding women accountable? Y'all are the opposite sides here. So whatever you're saying to him, he can easily say about you, Pearl. Why don't you hold the men equally as accountable as the women? Let's just be honest here.
The deal for men. Yeah. So I'm looking at this from the man's point of view. What does the man get out of it? Is this a good deal? He can't even ask for an in-shape wife.
He gets a woman.
He can't even say 120 pounds.
Can I answer the question?
I'm asking.
He gets a woman who's promised to stay with him, even though statistically he'll gain 30 or 40 pounds.
Did she just say and? So you're over here shaming women for gaining weight in marriages. Meanwhile, he just gave you a stat that, hey, men will also gain about on average 30 pounds. And? What do you mean and? So that means that if we're going to apply the rules to the woman, then we can't have a in-shape woman who has to spend all this time staying in shape, and a man can just be a fat slob. He's got to also match that. If she's got to be in shape, then he's got to be in shape. That's how couples work. You work out together, you stay together. That's what it is, because you got the same mindset. What are you talking about? So you're just excuse. Yo, you're simp. You're fucking simp. Pearl, you're a simp. I never thought I'd be using the word against a woman before. But Pearl, you're the first one. Congratulations. You're a simp. Like, how are you excusing a man? He gaining weight too. How does he get the pass?
Women's job has far more of a job to be beautiful than men. Men's job is to protect and provide.
So do women have
a right what is wrong with a man asking that she stays a certain weight?
Because it's shallow. It's fine to ask someone to be healthy, and it's fine to encourage your spouse to maintain attractiveness, not to just let yourself go. But that's the same for husbands and wives. Neither should just let themselves go. But at the same time, each one should be merciful, knowing that time and age come for all of us.
The reason that the obesity, I've looked that up before, the reason that the men are more overweight than women is because you don't look at visceral fat. So like when men are
now she's going to visceral fat to defend these dudes. Now we got to talk about, the reason why men are overweight in these marriages is because of visceral fat. Okay, what about the fat women gain from pregnancy? We just discount that now? Like this, the goal post moving is unmatched right now in this debate.
very high like muscle percentage, they're still considered overweight more so than women. So a more accurate way to look at that is visceral fat. And women have higher rates of visceral fat than men. So actually women are more, and if you look at extreme obesity, women are more obese.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I don't know why you're like kind of lying with that stat, trying to.
Wow. Oh, she calls him a liar. The disrespect. Like this guy, I don't know what I am pissed off looks like, but just looking at him, he looks like he's pissed off. How you gonna call him a liar? Where's your stats to counter? Oh my God, counter his claims. Where is it? You calling him a liar, bro? That's crazy.
Act like men are equally obese. They're not.
Well, men are still overweight, but that still doesn't show none of that shows marriage is a bad deal for men.
Should men marry women that have had abortions?
Should men marry women that have had abortions?
Should men marry women that have had abortions?
I wouldn't say it's a deal breaker.
Should men marry women with STDs?
I wouldn't say. Here,
According to women have herpes. Should men marry them?
I'm going to answer.
Okay,
I would like to answer.
Okay, what about the guys that have herpes? I mean, those guys can be great for each other. I'm sure that. I'm sure women, with herpes can find guys with herpes and they can find love or, or just be a fresh, a real player, just you don't care if you get burned. Just keep pumping these women. That's all it is, right? I mean, there's so many things, right? But again, again, it's not a deal breaker for them, but it is going to be a deal breaker for most dudes, right? No dude wants to marry a girl or no girl wants to marry a dude if they know they got some form of STDs out there, right? So it is a deal breaker for most, but if both of them got the diseases, I mean, they can build something together. Now it's just one on the other side of the herpes thing. Like they gotta have. If they decide to have babies, you can't have it through the vaginal way. You gotta have a C-section just because the child can get herpes. During vaginal pregnancy or delivery, so you got to be careful with that. But other than that, like again, they can find each other. They can do whatever, right? They can still build a family. There's a lot of things, opportunities that can happen. Okay, just because she has a tattoos doesn't disqualify her. Just because she's got a little bit of a little gut doesn't disqualify her. Some guy's gonna find that attractive. We're not looking at the real world here, where we have this stenciled, stats that is just basically filled with bro science and saying this is the standard that men are looking for without actually asking the men what they want. None of y'all have asked men what they actually wanted. All right. That is what it is.
Your question. I would say just as it is not a disqualifier for if a man facilitated an abortion, and 90% so for every woman who chooses to get an abortion, 90% of the time, the man is actively or passively supporting it. So just as it's not a deal breaker for a woman.
I'm asking for the future man. I'm not saying this, that he asked her to abort this is another man's kid. She's had an abortion.
No, what I'm saying is
she has an abortion. How does that disqualify her for being a better wife? I don't get, if she's had an abortion, how does that disqualify her from being a better wife? What about the guy who because it takes two to make a baby, right? What about the guy? Was he okay with it? Did we talk to him? Was he okay with the abortion? Did he want the abortion too? If he wanted the abortion, why are we not getting on his neck? Right? Listen, you got a point with the STD thing, right? Listen, unless the other person has STDs, unless you tell the partner and if the partner's okay with it, I don't think that's a good look, right? But again, it's just one of those things where who the fuck are you to judge, Pearl? If she got an abortion, that doesn't make her an ineligible woman. If she's overweight, that doesn't make her an ineligible woman. What are you actually trying to say? Right? I don't get it. What if she got raped at one point? She got pregnant. She got an abortion. Does that make her ineligible of being a future mom or wife? There are a lot of things and scenarios you're not putting in here, man. It's serious. It really is serious. I don't play games. Shout out to you for the two. I don't play games. Says, did you see what happened to Daisy on whatever podcast? Yeah, that was brutal. It was absolutely brutal. I'm going to tell you this. I lost the last little bit of respect I had for Andrew Wilson. All right. And the little respect I had was just because I defended him on the when he was getting roasted by Wes Wilson. But I noticed something, right? Andrew Wilson, you got strong smoke for all these women. You got a lot of smoke for women, right? But when it comes to Wes Watson, a literal beta that wouldn't have done shit, even though he's all screaming aloud in your face, you coward like a bitch. People had to come out and defend you because you look like such a fucking bitch. But when it comes to digitally clowning women, oh, you got no problem with that. You got no problem bringing up, the part that pissed me off the most is, listen, women that go through abortions, There's a literal psychological damage that happens. This is serious shit. Abortion is not an easy thing like Rollo or all these guys try to trivialize it and make it seem like it's just another form of birth control. It's not just another form of birth control. This has serious mental health effects, all right? Physical ramifications for that woman. For you to bring up and shame her for getting an abortion on Mother's Day. You're a fucking evil animal, bro. You deserve that roasting Wes Watson give you, and I hope you get a lot more. I hope you get a lot more roasting because guys like you are weak, spineless bozos who are married to women who basically cucked you with other kids. You're taking care of other man's kids right now while trying to roast other women. Make it make sense. You a whole cuck out here. Instead of spending time as a married man with your family, you out here smoking cigarettes on live streams, clowning young girls. What is it? Andrew, you want to be with these young girls instead of your wife? I wonder what's the difference between these young girls and your fucking wife that you much rather pay attention to them and ridicule them than actually paying attention to your wife. Oh, that's right, because she's giving you shit behind the scenes, so you have no choice but take up your pent-up anger and rage on a fucking woman out there or multiple women you've been doing this shit on. That was fucking wrong. It was fucked up. And the shit you tried to do with the fucking government, trying to get her in trouble with the CCP, you guys are weirdos. But it'll all be settled in the end. It'll all be settled in the end. Just wait, y'all. Hey, listen, wait. Chat. Y'all just wait. There's a lot coming. Maybe not for the whatever podcast. I can't listen. I don't control Daisy. She can do whatever the fuck she wants. She's her own woman. I don't think you'll understand. The whole reason we were defending Daisy was because y'all were calling her an escort, and there's ample evidence to prove she's not. That is literally the hill we're about to die on, all right? You guys say we're going to die on it. That's the hill because we know we got the facts on that part. Everything else, I already told you, I don't control that. That's not me. But the fact that everybody else is wrong on is the fact she's an escort. You guys are just plainly wrong on that, and you're about to see pretty fucking soon. It's not even a game anymore. Y'all just playing with the wrong people. Or some of y'all say, oh, I do know. Trust me, my credibility's still intact. Bitch, you got another thing coming. Just wait. Just wait. That's all I got to tell y'all. But for the shit that they pulled, it was disgusting. Any one of y'all guys that still want to call yourself men after that shit show, you knew it was a setup, Brian. You knew what the fuck you were doing. All that shit was a setup. You set up two girls, and you think this was gonna be a good look for your fans, maybe your incel audience. But maybe I don't know all what was going on, but I have to assume that regular people who watch your show, they were a bit turned off by that performance, especially you, Andrew, because you look like towards the end you lost control when they brought up your fucking wife. So it looks like there's some insecurities there, huh? You out here have no problem shaming women. Present your fucking wife. Let the world see it. Let the world see it then. Because she's out here, got no problem. Your wife got no problem shaming other women on Twitter, and she don't even look half as good as them. So where's all this anger coming from, bruh? Yet you got people, you getting people pressing you to your face, you fat titty fuck, and you still didn't do shit. It just proves you're a weakling. All these red pill poppers are weakling. You got a man who got smoked for you. Andrew Wilson did nothing. He sat in his chair sweating like a bitch. Other niggas had to come and defend you. But when it comes to women, you got no problems yelling and screaming at them. Y'all, all you did was run interference for Fresh and Fit because we know you're a spineless weasel who's commanded by them, okay? You, Brian, all these guys. That's just what it is. Yeah, there was a hit job for these guys. And if you think you screwed up with the legal case, y'all didn't screw up with nothing. You didn't screw up with nothing. The legal case is defamation. It's not anything to do with, oh, well, am I doing this for revenge? Am I doing this because I'm angry? That has nothing to do with the case. Is she an escort? Can you guys prove it? You guys cannot. You guys cannot prove it. There's no proof. Matter of fact, we found more proof about the people trying to bring proof about them escorting than the actual proof they brought themselves. Just being real. They got no proof. That's the case. So once we get that fine print, we're going to read it out for y'all. That is the case. We're not looking at, oh, what is Daisy's characteristics? Did she kill the baby? Is she a baby killer? What is Daisy's mindset? Oh, is she angry? Is she vengeful? Lawyers aren't looking at that. They don't care about that. Is she an escort? Can you guys prove it? If you can't, you owe a lot of money in damages. It just is what it is. So all y'all say, oh, Andrew Wilson ruined her case. No, Andrew Wilson was being a bastard. Like the little bitch she's always been. That shit was fucking whack. It was sick. I wouldn't call yourself a Christian man, and this is how you treat people. Like I wouldn't even, like, bro, come on. You fucking said you got 5 fucking kids. 2 of them are not yours. But this is how you go out here and treat women, and you think your kids are going to be proud of this shit? You're a fucking moron, a fucking weirdo, and you deserve all the shit that Wes Watson did to you. I might even take that video down. Fuck that nigga. But that shit was crazy. Honestly. Lay with the 5, shout out to you, says, Pearl, false Me Too coach Marcus got him fired, lied on her innocent doorman and got him fired, lied on Sarah Garvey, and Pearl cheated on angry reactions. Listen, I don't know about the cheating part. I actually don't know. I don't know about the cheating part. What I can say is that Pearl's a liar. And we can't put this above her. All right? Pearl and all the people like her, they're liars. This is what they do. Okay? Because to them, getting the other person they hate in trouble at any means necessary is more worth it than anything else. That's what this is. Right? So you can't trust people like that. Right? You can't do it. Because they'll pick up the phone real quick and they'll levy false allegations against you. I know. I've had it happen to me. So you can't trust Pearl. Like, why? Hey, what was that? Who was that? Because it was the apartment she was living in London. Right? That was the apartment where that guy, what was it? That guy, was it a doorman that got fired? I think it was the doorman that got fired because Pearl got mad because the lady walked back up to her apartment to grab her phone. I think that's how the story went, right? But again, it's like, it just shows you how much of a Karen this woman actually is. She's a Karen. Pearl, you're a Karen, bro. You over here snitching on a doorman had nothing to do with over the podcast you did. Like, that was crazy. But can we be surprised that, not fresh, she might as well be a fresh, that Pearl is a false accuser? I'm not surprised.
Applying an equal standard here. So I would say that it is not a deal breaker for a man to marry a woman who's had an abortion, just like it's not a deal breaker for a woman to marry a man who had facilitated an abortion.
Should men marry women that have slept with over 10 men?
Should they marry someone who's slept with over 10 men? I would say that when you have more sexual partners, that's definitely that's something that's concerning. That could be a red flag.
So you would say no?
But that doesn't apply. I'm not going to say that someone is unmarriageable because of one particular trait.
What about porn?
Okay. What
about women that have participated in porn? Should men marry women that have participated in porn?
I would say that that's definitely a red flag, but it is not it's not a deal breaker.
Do you have a son?
Can I answer the questions, Pearl? Because you can keep asking questions and I'll never answer them.
Because it just would be easier if I got a yes or no. Because
it would be easy, isn't it, Pearl? It would be easy if you got a yes or no answer because it fits your narrative, wouldn't it? Right? Because if you just your questions are incredibly vague. You need a well thought out answer to response. You just don't like his answers because they're not simple yes or no for you to easily manipulate him into a corner with. That's just how these people play their games. They want a yes or no question so they can bully you into a corner and then beat you over with their talking points. You can't fall for that. If they give you a vague question, you give them a well-rounded answer, right? They're not going to like that, but you're going to have to do it because otherwise they're going to try to trap you. This is Pearl's tactic.
Giving me these roundabout, and I'm just like, yes or no.
I'm giving you good answers.
Go ahead.
So I'd like to finish about pornography.
Go ahead.
I would say it's not a deal breaker if a woman had participated in pornography, much the same way it is not a deal breaker. Well, it's something to be very, very worried about. So I'll answer it this way. It's very hard for me to find anything that's a deal breaker for marriage, except for maybe diagnosed severe mental illness, for example, or addiction to drugs, things like that. But that would apply to men and women. So when it comes to pornography, I would say it's very concerning if a woman had previously engaged in pornography, just like it is very concerning if a woman chooses to marry a man who's previously viewed pornography.
But this is my question. It's like, why can't men have standards? And this is what I've noticed from the trad community and like the conservatives. It's like the quality of women keeps going down and down.
Hold on. Wait. I thought y'all were trads. I thought you all were trads. Hold on. Wait. Pearl, what community are you representing? I'm sorry. I thought you were pretending to be a trad. Like what's going on? I'm so confused. It's like that Spider-Man meme. I thought y'all were the imposter. What's happening?
Down. And we can't even definitively say, hey, maybe we shouldn't marry porn stars. Maybe we shouldn't marry overweight women. You know, it's like we constantly get rid of standards for men.
No, I'm fine with standards as long as...
we can't even... No, you're not, because you're not even definitively saying you shouldn't marry a porn star. You would never in a million years tell your son to marry a porn star.
Listen, I'm not a tradcon, so I don't have these very rigid rules that a lot of these tradcons have, okay? Listen, I see porn stars getting wiped up right now. Pearl, where's your ring at? I'm asking for a friend. Where's your ring at? Right? So, but if we're putting it into their tradcon perspective, then yeah, you wouldn't agree with that, right? Because why? A porn star, she's what? She's supposed to be this. She got a video. So it would be problematic if you're a tradcon, right? Okay, Pearl. Let's talk about your friends because they seem to be living that lifestyle where some of them could damn near be called OnlyFans models, right? What do you got to say about that? Nothing, right? Because we shut up when it's our guys, but clown them when it's everybody else. I mean, these guys, come on, you can see the hypocrisy through the fucking window.
Currently working porn star?
Even a previous
you said
star.
Former.
Even former. You would never. Come on, someone you loved. Okay. And this is why.
You can keep talking, or you can ask me a question. Because I was going to say I do believe in standards, Pearl. I just believe they should be applied equally. So if women have a past in porn and that makes them unmarriageable, fine. Then we should just say any man who's looked at porn, don't marry him.
No, you can't say no. You can't say no because again, I don't think most women will be okay if they're a man was out here just banging all sorts of types of women, right? Just saying, right? Some people, if they're like, listen, women, they probably won't be okay with that because someone will be a little bit more territorial over their man. That's just what it is. So if we're going to apply the standards to women where we're saying, hey, women, if you had a past as a porn star, you're no longer eligible. We got to put it the same stigma to the men. This is the equality you guys are fighting for. You can't just pick and choose because it make y'all hypocrites. If you really want equality, like these feminists want, right? You guys want the same thing, especially when the child support courts. It's got to be equality all around. It can't be picking and choosing because if we're saying that women are marriage ineligible because they had a past or they're currently porn stars, then we have to use the same argument against the men who are engaged or were engaged in that same activity. You can't have it both ways. Otherwise, it starts to look like you're simping for dudes. All right, you're just simping for dudes. That's what it's sounding like right now, bro. We gotta put the hammer on both things. I think neither should be involved in that. That's my perspective, right? I think it's just bad all around. If the man's involved in pornography, it's just bad. If the woman is involved in pornography, it's also just bad. So I just think that listen, maybe you all should just find people who are not in that life. Now, if they're both in their life, in that lifestyle, and they're both okay with it, right? Like the Adam 22 and Lena Paul, right? Y'all are judging their relationship. I'm like, they're not normal people, okay? They're both porn stars. Let them do what the fuck they want to do, all right? That's fine in my opinion. They're both the same people. But if it was the other way where it was Adam and some girl who's not used to that, I'm sure that girl won't be okay with it. Or vice versa, if it was Adam and who was the straight edge one, and then it was Lena going around sleeping with all these dudes. Somehow he wouldn't be okay with it because he had multiple crash outs like during this whole saga that Lena went through with her BBC, right? he crashed out multiple times, so we can tell Adam wasn't 100% okay with it, but he's also a weirdo in that lifestyle. Now imagine an average guy dating a porn star. It's not going to work. So why even bring that up? It's not going to work for an average woman to date this porn star. It just doesn't. Let's just be fair on both sides. Blaze Shati for the 5 says, W Pearl. Oh, no. She said Pearl W. Oh, my bad. That W's tripping me up. She says, Pearl will pay blessings palimony. MTR is crying. He's number 2 by feds. Oh, shit. Yo, that reminds me, chat. That's going to be my next story because Ro Tomasi and a lot of these pill poppers are worried. The feds are investigating. They're getting investigated. A lot of these pill popping weirdos, okay? The feds are not playing with y'all. Myron, you should have known this. You should have known what's coming for y'all, bro. The feds are not playing, okay? You should have understood. All right, where you couldn't understand when the ban came, you couldn't understand when the departnerization came. Now you about to understand when you lose your channel. Okay, we're just telling y'all. I'm not surprised. MTR, listen, he's a cool dude. He's just corny, right? But he's corny because listen, he's in this red pill space, right? He's a pill popper. He's one of these pill popper influencers, but he's just corny as fuck. But the thing is, that's what happens when you build a fan base that all y'all do is talk about women all day and slut shame and do all this crazy nonsense. You get labeled a terrorist or supremacist or whatever the fuck they're labeling you as. Listen, MTR, I would say out of these pill popping weirdos, you're probably the cooler one out of the bunch, just corny. You should probably, I'm not going to tell you how to do your shit. I'm just saying, if the feds are saying that you are sus with your content, I'd probably heed that warning, bro, because they don't come knocking twice. Okay, and majority of their cases, they're on point. Okay, don't play with the feds. Listen, you manosphere weirdos, if you think you're on the winning side, you're not. It's all going to be over. It's all going to be over. I'm sorry, but you brought it to yourselves. You got way too extreme with the rhetoric and the materials you've been putting out there. Now, you can't be surprised that people are saying y'all extreme. Y'all radicalizing a bunch of men out here. You don't think the government's paying attention? All these young men being radicalized out of nowhere. You don't think they notice? So y'all got to wake up. Smell the mustard. Just like the mafia, they're already going after who the leaders are. Rollo Tomasi, don't run from this, Rollo. You're not running, Mr. I'm the Godfather. You can't run from this. This is your bed. You're going to sleep in it, bro. I hope they come after you. Rollo, I hope they tag you. You and Donnie. Y'all both need to go down. It'd be a great day to see y'all go down, bro. Because, listen, y'all are the architects of this whole disaster. So, Lay, I'm not surprised. Listen, MTR, this should be a warning call or a wake-up call. I did see a couple of videos about it. Listen, bro, I'd say just dial it back. Just a bit, okay? Because it's not looking good listen, it's not looking good. Especially in the future, it's not going to look good.
Well, is it okay for men to look at porn? You can ask that during your cross-examination. The equal equivalent would be a man that's participated in porn. That would be the equal equivalent if you're really going to go apples to apples here. But what I'm asking is, okay,
and there's lots of men who participate in porn.
A quarter of women, up to a third, have an STD. Should men marry them?
Should they marry them?
Yeah.
Just the same reasons would apply if you ask women, should they marry men who have STDs? Because men have lots of STDs. And if it's okay to marry them.
But why is it what about the men? It's like the
because men and women are equal. Men and women are equal. We should treat them equally.
It's the crazy. I don't think men and women are equal.
Are they equal in value and dignity? Sorry, just real quick.
Trent, you can ask questions in your cross-examination.
I'm not coming at this from a religious point of view. What I am saying is that you keep telling men to lower their standards. Because you were saying, wife up these whores. 3% of women, 100 years.
That's what Myron suggests. He says you got to fuck with at least 50 of them before you can tell a good woman. I don't get it. The Second Coming says, why would the feds care about them? Doesn't that destroy your whole channel? No. The whole point of our channel is to criticize their bad talking points so it aligns with what the normal people out there are feeling. Okay, that's the main point of our channel. If their rhetoric goes against that, we criticize it because it goes against what the norm is, right? So again, you asking that question it's like asking, well, hold up, let me show your comment real quick. That's like asking, and I'm not coming at you or anything like that. That's like asking, well, why do the feds watch these Christian conservative groups, these far right Christian conservatives? Why did the feds put a beat on them? Right? Why are the feds watching these crazy far left protesters that are all over the place? Why do you think the feds are watching them? The feds have a job, okay? That's a national security threat. They got to address it, all right? So if they think that if they're seeing a bunch of people getting radicalized off of something or a platform or somewhere, they're going to investigate. It's like a no-brainer. The feds are all over the place. If they're seeing a bunch of young men quoting Andrew Tate, quoting all these other podcasts, and they're coming out with these ideas that are possibly radicalizing these guys into doing something or saying crazy nonsense, why wouldn't the feds look into them? This is what the feds do. They will, anybody getting radicalized out of a particular group, they're infiltrating already. They already got a full stack report ready to go to the top. That's how this shit works. So that doesn't disprove my point. It actually proves my point, the Second Coming. It proves my point, basically saying that we've been trying to warn y'all to dial it back. Y'all are sounding too crazy, and you're radicalizing a bunch of dudes. Now, the real authority is letting y'all know y'all fucked up. We were basically a warning before the storm. Nobody listened. They said we were haters, clout chasers. But we were telling the truth. Y'all are gonna get got. Y'all are crying, oh, free speech. It's YouTube, god damn it. It ain't got nothing to do with free speech. When the feds come knocking, your channels are going down. YouTube don't give a fuck. They'll make more money off of you, Mr. Beast, than MTR. That's how that works. So y'all getting mad at me. I'm literally the guy trying to let y'all know. I'm the, what do you call it? What do you call it? The herald. I'm the herald. I'm out here just telling you, hey, listen, this shit sounds weird. Y'all need to cut it out. You're radicalizing men. Stop it, or something serious is gonna happen. Nobody listens. Now the feds involved. Oh, dude, come on. Doesn't that disprove your point? No, it proves my point. Now a bigger authority is gonna get them. Not me. We're just going to keep clowning them. Let's get back to that super chat real quick. Sorry about that, KS. I had to go ahead and tackle that. It says Pearl has a double standard mentality. To me, it's reading off the statistics does not count for the practical. That's absolutely facts. We talk about practical experiences here for men. A lot of the stuff you see online are not the experiences practical men are going to go through. Average men are going to go through or even apply into their lives. This is the problem. But again, you know, people don't know that. They don't understand that it's very easy to lie with numbers. Numbers aren't like they're concrete when it comes to math. You can't dispute math, right, Fresh? 2 + 2 is 4. It's always going to be 4. It always has, and it always will be. No one decided it. It just was. Okay, so that's math. But if we're talking about stats, right, with all these different numbers, you can lie with that easy. You can lie with numbers. Right, you can have a number that basically has one meaning, but then you can interpret another meaning to it. You can't change 2 + 2 is 4. But if I have a string of data, I can manipulate that data to be something else. Right, that's what y'all got to understand. M. Shati for the 5. M. Says, why does Pearl not call out the Tates who have kids with OnlyFans models? That's a good that's a good facts. Not even that. Why doesn't she call out the fact that they force these women, oftentimes coercing these women to do OnlyFans so they can make money? I mean, after all, isn't Tristan Tate's baby mama one of his girls, working girls? Right? Didn't he brag on social media that, hey, if she complains about me to the embassy, I'm demoting her apartment. I don't care if she has my son. She's going from a big apartment to a little apartment. Who says that? That's the mother of your child. You're forcing her into digital prostitution. And not only that, you're online bragging about threatening to punish her if she doesn't produce or if she threatens to go to the authorities. Think about that. Your girl wants to go to the authorities, and all of a sudden now you're going to demote her. My real question is, why does she want to go to the authorities? Why is your baby mom trying to snitch on you to the embassy? But now we know. We know because y'all are standing trial in Romania for rape and trafficking. So it just makes sense to me. We haven't covered Andrew Tate in a minute. Chat, we got to cover Andrew Tate because it's not looking good for Tate. Chat, it's not looking good for this man. He's done. And you know what is funny? Where are the tater tots? Where are the tater tots? Remember they were clowning us. Chat, remember they would say, Duke, you're a hater. Duke, I can't believe you. How dare you? Where's your Bugatti, Duke? Huh? Where's your Bugatti? Huh? We weren't hating. We were just telling you what is going to be used in court. See, a lot of times you YouTubers, you can't, not YouTubers, I'm sorry. A lot of you guys who watch YouTube and some of you YouTubers, you don't understand that, like, again, the court of public opinion is different with what you can prove in actual court. Okay, so y'all would think, we all agree as fans of Andrew Tate, we all agree that he's innocent. So therefore, he's going to be innocent. No, when we're sitting here warning you, hey, there's real evidence that they're going to be used against him in court. Y'all say, no, there's no evidence. This is the difference between court of public opinion and the real deal. See, our channel, we focus on the real deal. We don't care what the public opinion thinks because it's swayed easily. It's what you can prove in court. We've been telling y'all that guy was going down for years. All y'all yelled at us, called us haters, clout chasers, whatever the fuck, right? Now he's standing trial. Where are they? They ran. They ran. We still here saying the same thing we've been saying for a long time. They not here because we're right. We have no incentive to lie to you. We just go over the facts. Yeah, I'm not saying we're 100% on everything, but I'm just saying, like, we come out here with facts. We're not coming out here to just say things. We don't care about the court of public opinion because y'all would end up losing in the end to the real courts. You will end up losing, okay? Just like with this Daisy thing. Y'all will find out. You will lose. I don't care what the court of public opinion says. What we're seeing right now, y'all going to lose. There's no wrong. Hey, listen, nothing wrong with that. Y'all can just listen to what you want to listen to for your drama and then come back to the channel for real content. That's just what it is. Because we'll tell you exactly what's about to happen. We've been telling you what's going to happen for Tate for years. Nobody listened. Now it's happening. They're quiet. This is how they behave. That's why I don't respect these people. I don't respect none of them. You can't.
Years ago, men got a virgin. They got a virgin 4+ kids. 3% of women are waiting till marriage nowadays. You're saying wife them up anyway. Doesn't matter the risk. Who cares?
Do you have a question, Pearl?
So yeah, I'm going to go back to STD is not a deal breaker. Yes or no?
No, they're not. If they're not a deal breaker for men, they're not a deal breaker for women.
Okay. On top of that, porn, not a deal breaker.
Having been involved in pornography?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not a deal breaker, but it's something to be very concerned about. The same as if a man had been behind the camera doing OnlyFans work or working at OnlyFans. But if he's truly repented, then people can really change, and we should give them mercy, whether they're a man or a woman.
People can change, but it doesn't mean they statistically do. And women that have made those decisions, statistically, the grass, statistically, it's not a happy ending for most of them. So that's the other question. Why would you sign up? Would you ever sign a business contract that someone's paid to leave? So me and you are going to do business, and I get a bunch of money and your children if I leave. You would sign that contract.
First of all, you're missing out prenups and postdoctoral agreements. So what? That's not even a valid question.
If you get my children, because maybe we're pairing our YouTube channels together, probably not going to sell off my kids on that. But it's very common in business deals, Pearl, where if you have a high value business partner and you really want them to be a part of the venture, you might include things like a buyout clause or severance pay.
Isn't that what Jeff Bezos did with his wife or ex-wife? She got a buyout package from a certain percentage of the company, and she's gone. And guess what happened to Jeff Bezos? Bounced back, even more money than he had before. It just disproves all of you guys, right? The men usually bounce back quicker. I'm not saying all men, but the vast majority that go through divorce, they bounce back pretty quick, right? But again, it's just one of those things that we live out the key information here. If we're going to treat marriage like a business, which on certain cases it is, there are buyout clauses. There's certain clauses put in place to protect both business parties. To just sit there and say, well, what if you get into this contract with no guarantees or no provisions negotiated for yourself? Yeah, you're an idiot to sign a contract. Just like with some of these rappers, they get themselves in stupid record deals. These young rappers, they get in these weird record deals thinking they made it, and then once reality sets in, they realize they got no freedom. You got to be aware of the things that you put your signature on.
Not that uncommon to ameliorate risks or to encourage them to take part in the project.
Okay, so would you sign the contract or no?
When I sign a contract, you've made it very
where I'm paid to leave.
Where you're paid to leave if you're my business partner. It depends how much and what risk. Why can't you answer the question? Because your question is underdefined and it can't be answered. You've asked it in a very vague way, so I can only give a vague answer.
Okay, me and you sign a business deal, and in that business deal, and in that business deal, I get your whole YouTube channel if I leave, and I get your children. Are you signing it?
No, I'm not.
Exactly. That's the point. No, you're not signing it. And this is the thing. They act like it's one-off instances, and this is what the academics tend to do. They'll say, "Here's a study funded by this."
He's a tradcon. You're talking about, this is what the academics like to do. I'm sorry. On this, I'm listening to the academics because they have peer-reviewed studies. They have higher standards of analyzing data than red pill poppers. I'm sorry, Pearl. When it comes down to the data, would I trust an academic or Pearl? I'm going with an academic because Pearl doesn't have the facts. We're just being honest here.
This organization, or here's another study, and they want you to not believe what's in front of your eyes. Men are not signing up for marriage today. And you can say it's that marriage is a great deal for men, but men are naturally logical. They do what makes sense. 100 years ago, men were still men, same software. They married women in 3 months. There's a reason it's gone up to 3 years.
I would sign a contract where if you're undergoing significant risk, and the whole point of things that if a marriage divorces is that women undertake risks. If they come and then they give up their careers and they stay home and raise children, for example, and they
the majority of women aren't doing that. The majority of women are not doing that statistically. 3 out of 4 women are working, so it's not the majority.
The point is, if they go and do that and they take part in a marriage, you're undertaking risks when you're involved in marriage. Well, as I stated before, women are twice as likely to end up in poverty after divorce than men.
Yeah, because women are bad with money.
Oh my God! If you look at the debt. And you actually look at you take all of the debt and you break it down. Who has more, men or women? Men overwhelmingly carry the debt, right? And if you even break that stat down even further, you realize that it's actually a lot of the wealthy men that carry a lot of the debt. Okay, let's use Jeff Bezos for an example, right? Someone like Jeff Bezos. If let's say Jeff Bezos needs $100 million for a line of credit or something like that because he wants to not even line of credit. Let's say he needs $100 million in money, right? He needs it fast. He can either do one or two different things. The first obvious thing you guys might think of, well, why don't you just sell some shares in Amazon? You sell some shares in Amazon, they got $100 million because, dude, you're making $8 million a day, so why not? You sell $100 million, all right, and then, you can go out and go spend the money. Well, yeah, that's nice. It's obvious, right? But there's a problem, and it's a problem for rich folks. Well, if you sell $100 million worth of stocks, it also comes with $100 million worth of taxes you got to pay on that money you took out or you sold, right? A lot of billionaires or people who are rich don't like to go through that route. So what do? They go to a bank. They say, hey, listen, I'm Jeff Bezos. My company's almost worth $1 trillion. Okay, we're out here. I want $100 million, and I want it now. Guess what the bank's gonna do? They're gonna look at the company, and they're gonna look at Jeff Bezos, and they say, here's $100 million worth of a loan or $100 million worth of a line of credit. Congratulations, my man just got $100 million worth of debt. All right, overwhelmingly, it's a bunch of rich people who, especially rich men, because men, I mean, come on, we're guys. I mean, we're dudes. We're guys. I mean, it is what it is, right? We're gonna dominate the top spots. That's why I always find it weird when these guys are complaining online. It's like, dude, we're guys. No matter what, we're gonna dominate the top spot. We know it, so we're not insecure about it. Why complain about it online? We're guys, bro. It is what the fuck it is, right? So a lot of these men who are doing these, they hold a lot of the debt. Right now, if we look at it, if we break it down, right, when it comes down to the different types of debt, then we can look at student loans, and we can look at colleges, and we can look at credit cards, and then you can start to see the numbers, look more, okay, women are having more of the debt than men. But if we're looking at debt overall, because Pearl doesn't specify here, she just talks about debt, majority of the debt. What type of debt? We don't know. But if we're looking at it, yeah, she's got a point. It's women. But overall, if we're getting specific here, men are the ones that are carrying the debt, and you're about to see that in just a second.
No, women have
80% of the world's debt. Women have 80% of the world's debt. Women are not good with money, and many men, and many. That's not true. Women have 80% of the world's debt. And the other thing that they don't take into account is that
in this country, men have more.
And women have 80% of the world's debt. Women are not great with money. And men earn more as well, too.
Again, what type of debt are we talking about here? We have to specify, because there are tons of debts out there. There's, are we talking about debt, when you're taking out a line of credit? Are we talking about debt when you're doing stuff for your business? Are we talking about consumer debt, right? What type of debt are we talking about? If we're talking about some consumer debt, okay, let's break that down. Because, you can have a point there, but that's where you got to specify. You can't just say, oh, women are in charge of all the debt, because now you have to be like, okay, what type of debt are women majority of the time carrying? Okay, if we're talking about consumer debt, then you got a point. This is what I said earlier. She's got a point, right? We got student loans and all these other stuff. We got credit cards. We got all these different things. You got a point, right? But you got to specify, and she's not specifying the type of debt. But even when we're talking about consumer debt here, you're acting like men aren't bad with money. Is that what you're going to sit there and pretend that we don't have? Again, everything you're going to say about the men on the consumer side, or not the men, the women on the consumer side, we can say about the men. Matter of fact, finances are the biggest reasons why people get divorced. Finances, spending habits, biggest reason why people get divorced nowadays. So are we going to say that it's just the women in those relationships being bad with money? Then that doesn't make any sense, because women file divorce 70% of the time against, according to Pearl's statistics. So what are we doing here? We just have to listen. I'm not saying that she's wrong. I'm just saying if we're going to acknowledge one side, to be fair, we got to acknowledge the other side as well. It's just this one-sided fallacy does not work when we're trying to get down to the root causes of a lot of problems happening.
And the thing is, you're not addressing the suicide problem. Do you not think that's a problem?
Of course, suicide's a problem. It's more of a problem for men who never marry.
I'm asking in divorce. They're 9 times more likely to commit suicide after a divorce.
They're 9 times more likely than a divorced woman. You're misreading the statistic.
And in family court, if they find within 5 years, many men do commit suicide. What do you think? You think it's just made up? You think it's just fake? All these men that are saying my life is ruined.
Yes,
let him answer it. Go ahead.
No, because I've actually read the studies. Okay. And the problem is you're doing the comparison fallacy here. You're just picking, hey, if you get married, this bad thing can happen to you, or this bad thing can happen to you, and that's true. But if you choose to not get married, you can also have many bad things happen to you. You can grow up and have no social connections. You become a recluse, and you're more likely to commit suicide. You're more likely just to not take care of yourself. And the statistics show that on average, ever married men, including divorced men, live longer, are healthier, and rate their lives as happier than never married men. It's a statistical fact.
Because women date happy men.
So they.
Now we're just gonna move the goalposts. Well, yeah, the reason why these men who are divorced are happy is because women somehow find the happy men. That's right. Yeah, women find the happy men and then divorce them, but somehow the men, even though they've been divorced, are still happy after the divorce. So I mean, somehow it's the fault of a woman. Somehow, like Pearl, come on, stop it. You trying to move the goalpost isn't working. Oh well, that's because women find happy men. Really? Are you gonna? majority of men are facing massive depression nowadays. How are these women finding all these happy dudes? Let's just be real. Like, I haven't seen a bigger goalpost move than what she just said right here. Pearl, grow up. Stop it. You're a bigger simp for men I've ever seen in my entire life. All right, this is crazy. Oscar Perez, shout out to you for the 5, says, Duke says Magua does copyright strike a smaller channel that did a 1-hour documentary exposing him. He needs to help fight back against Saint Facts. It's Don Ozzy. Don Ozzy, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, is the channel. And he used a lot of the material we exposed here to pretty much expose us Marquand, right? And when I'm gonna actually, I'm aware of it. I actually told the guy that emailed me. So let me actually check here. I don't see an email yet because email is the best way you got to get a hold of me. All right, anybody you want to get a hold of me, email is the best way. But I'm gonna tell you this. I told him to email me because he commented on one of my recent videos. I saw it, and it's bad. But this is how fragile a lot of these pill poppers are. Sus Marquand tried to do that to us, right? So luckily, we're a slightly larger channel with a stronger community, so we can weather the storm. But these guys will try to strike your channels. Imagine what they do with smaller channels. And y'all don't know who Sus Marquand is, because I know we got a lot of new people in recently. But let me show y'all who this guy is. He's this guy that cuts up his grandmama's couches and makes suits out of them. Him, right here. This sussy weirdo over here. This guy over here. This dude over here who has no problem striking down smaller channels because of what?
But ass.
For what? For what? You use my shit. I should strike you down, right? I don't do that because, you know, that's abusing. That's a YouTube cardinal rule. It's a no-no. You break that, you're a weirdo. Fresh and Fit broke that. Now they're still clowning them ever since. They're still getting clowned. But Sus Marquand, you're going to stoop so low to copy strike another channel, all because they did a video about you, exposing you with my material that you don't like. Chat, this is what happens. This is shit that we go through every single day, right? Y'all don't even know this right now. You know, Fresh and Fit, they're trying to use Rumble to to demonetize. They did it to 3 of my videos already. They done it already, right? Hold up, let me see if I can. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. 3 of my videos. They've already slowly using Rumble to go ahead and strike those videos down, right? So it is what it is. I mean, I'm used to being demonetized. We're gonna appeal it, but it's just one of those things. This is the kind of shit we deal with on the back end that a lot of people don't realize. Hey, Fresh and Fit, if you weren't so worried about what's coming for y'all, why go ahead and do these weird moves? Just be honest with your fans, huh? Why are you so worried? Y'all out here pretending to be lions, hiding behind your news for supporters, right? You got all these other new channels supporting you. All right, I see y'all in the comment section. I see y'all sending them super chats trying to win over their support, and it's working. Well, it doesn't. They're not going to save you. They don't have the capacity to save y'all, and y'all know that. So behind the scenes, y'all want to come in here and strike down my videos for what? For what? Because y'all getting exposed. The thing is, they can't go all the way because they already know. They've already tried that before. It don't work. So now they're going to use Rumble to go ahead and try to strike down some of the other videos. Well, we're not surprised they do this. These are the same people. They want freedom of speech, but the moment you criticize them, all of a sudden, shut them down. It is what the fuck it is, right? And it's not we're saying anything that's blasphemous. It's not saying we're saying that blasphemous, right? It's not saying we're saying anything that's like a lie. Everything we're saying is the truth. Y'all don't like it. Now, if we were capping, if we were lying, if we're out here making false rumors, then fine, it's justified. Strike us down, right? If I'm over here saying that Myron threatened to unalive me, but he never said that, I was lying. I'm in the wrong. My channel deserves to be looked at and taken down, right? But if it's all facts, why are you so worried? Why are you worried about a little YouTuber, Sus? Huh? Why? So if you guys don't know, it's Don Ozzy. Let me see if we can find his account here. Don Ozzy. All right. Listen, chat. Maybe I'm wrong. Is it Don Ozzy? Is that the right? Hold up. Is that the right channel name? Hold on, I might be wrong, chat, because you know I am. Because I'm seeing a bunch of Ozzy Osbourne videos. I don't know. Chat, y'all know what I'm talking about, though. It's Don Ozzy, right? But we gotta listen. We're our community here. We're a little bit different, okay? We show support to people who are going through this type of bullshit. So let me see if y'all have the link, moderators. If you have the link to his account, can you put that in the chat so I can pin it? So that way you guys, yeah, it's Don Ozzy. I think that's the name. Okay, I found it. Oh, yeah. Okay, I found his channel, chat. Hold up, I found it. Oh, he actually did email me. Chat, he actually did email me 3 days ago. Oh my God, bro. I'm so bad at this. Hold up. All right, so here's this email, chat. And shout out to you for emailing me, bro. We're going to do the best we can to help you out. All right? You know, listen, as long as you spitting facts here, he has no right to take it down. But he says, this is Don Ozzy. He says, hey, Duke, I've been getting quite a few comments saying you shouted me out on stream. Oh, no, maybe it wasn't. Oh, no, this was the other one. Never mind. No. This wasn't the one, but he was showing me. Okay, so this one, he was showing me the video he did, right? So this is the video that got taken down. The darkest YouTube cult leader, Saint the Sinner, exposed. So if I click on it, this is what happens. He took it down. And so this video is no longer available due to copyright claim by Marquette Burton. It's got his name all over it. Chat, look at this. Who else do you know named Marquette? Oh, M. Shout out to you. M. got the link to the chat. All right, the link to his channel's pinned. Please go show your support. Good channel. He does good work over there with the video. It just sucks that you got these guys with fragile egos that want to take him down. I think that's sad. Sus Marquad, you need help, bro. All right, quit attacking people. Like, what's your problem? But yeah, I saw it, Oscar. Shout out to you for bringing awareness again on the stream. I'm glad we're able to put something out there. But go check him out. Let's try to see if we get that video back up there. All right, because that was some very tough stuff that he said. And Sus Marquad, listen, if it wasn't truth into it, why are you trying to hide the message, bro? That's all I gotta say. Let's continue.
Women pick for these things.
How do you know that?
Because I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I know what we pick for. We like tall, handsome, good-looking men.
Is every married man?
Angry Reactions wasn't any of that. Angry Reactions wasn't tall. He wasn't fit. He definitely wasn't high value when he found you. Who are you picking for, Pearl? Again, you're saying you're a woman, but the way we see you talk, we forget like that you're a woman. Matter of fact, I think you forget that you're a woman. All right, we've been calling you Pearl, but we might need to call you Paul because you out here just sounding like a whole man with the way you simping for these dudes.
Man, tall, handsome, and good looking.
Not every, but he's usually one of those things. He's usually one. Like he's usually either successful or handsome or good. It's women don't marry homeless men off the street.
There's a big difference between tall, handsome, and successful and homeless. There's also average.
No, and so my point is, women tend to pick above average men. We see this on dating apps. Women swipe right 5% of the time. The number one way people are meeting under 30 is on dating apps.
That's because on dating apps,
but you don't know what you're talking about. You're not even outdated.
I do. Because on dating apps, Pearl, the reason that women are so choosy is because there are 3 to 4 times as many men on dating apps than women. Mm-hmm. So men will be constantly swiping right. Women can be more choosy in that environment because there's just so many more men. But in real life, when you look at a 1993 study, another one by Taylor, and another one in
doesn't matter before social media, Pearl. When he already addressed the social media part, and this is the thing we've been addressing for a long time. When we hear these guys use the same stats, oh, well, look at Bumble, look at Tinder. Okay, more women swipe left on guys than swiping right? And it's like, yo, yeah, because there are more guys on the platform. Most of the women are on there. The majority of them are bots. We've talked about this already. The stats are skewed. You have a platform where there's more men than women. The women are going to be spoiled for choice. There's too many men over there. Too many men. So when y'all are quoting these facts, it doesn't work out well. Because you're missing a whole bunch of clues. Like, I don't get, there's more women on every dating app you need. Matter of fact, these dating apps need these women to be on there because that's how they're going to sell to the men. They need more women on there. The women are the market in these dating apps because without the women, the men don't come. Everybody knows that. Without the women, the men ain't going to be there. Same thing with clubs. A lot of these women that go to clubs, y'all don't understand. They're club promoters. They usually link up with a promoter. The promoter lets them know what's going on. All right, the club pays the promoter. The promoter flips over to the girl, and the girl shows up to the club, to make it look like it's popping. Because if the girl's there, the guys show up. Guys want women. Let's just be honest about that.
Another one by Taylor done in 2011.
Social media.
I would like to finish. Before Taylor study in 2011 shows that men and women, when they get married, they tend to be within the same social range and attractiveness. So while for dating and hookups, you're correct. Women on social media apps, because there's so many men to pick from, go for the higher quality men. When it comes for marriage, people tend to marry within their own social and attractiveness value bracket.
Right, but that doesn't disprove what I'm saying. Women pick a small percentage of men when given the choice.
That's not true, because I'm talking about marriage. We're talking about marriage, not Tinder.
But that's the number one way people are meeting under 30. And that's the thing. Like a lot of you guys are so out of touch. You don't see, like, these studies take years to come out at some time. I can tell you first.
Your fucking studies with 1,000 people over the 3 years you've been doing your podcast is also whack and out of touch. He's citing studies that had to do with over 800,000 people. That's a larger sample size than 1,000, Pearl. So you say, oh, well, I'm just going to deflect the fact that you're out of touch because you've been in a relationship. Why don't you say the same thing about Rolo? Huh? If we're going to go this argument, you got to call out Rolo, because you've been sitting there talking about how Rolo's been God's gift to the red pill since sliced bread. You're going to have to call him out because he's been married for 27 years. 27 years. You want to tell me who's not out of touch here? Come on. If you're going to say this about him, you got to say it about Rolo. He's the most out of touch nigga out here, but yeah, he's telling young men to go get vasectomies if they want to be high value. What kind of idea is that? Huh? Who in the right mind will go tell a young man to go sterilize themselves willingly? You go willingly sterilize yourself in order to be high value. You know, because you got to sacrifice to be high value over here. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this is crazy.
Firsthand what's going on, because I actually talked to the people.
No, I agree. It's dumb to try to meet your spouse on Tinder.
Right, but that's what's happening.
Right.
That's where the world is going.
Right.
And you're encouraging men to clean up women's mess. And I say men shouldn't have to do that. Men shouldn't have to sign a contract where women are paid to leave. I think it's so simple. If people are paid to do the wrong thing, why wouldn't they do it? Why would, I'm not saying every woman will, but every woman can.
What woman is going to want to say, gee, you know what would be great?
Don't ask questions. Let her go.
Yeah. Well, I'll go. Well,
yeah, because this is what Pearl does. She badgers you with questions and doesn't give you a chance to respond.
You can answer it.
Yes, I will answer it. No, the women are saying, gee, it would be so awesome if I married this guy and then got full custody of the kids. So now I'm a single parent and I have to take care of these kids. Good thing he sends me $440 a month to help with that. That doesn't sound like a...
Yeah, that's not a good deal. Like, you're not winning with that as a woman. You got me $500 a month in child support. Yeah, I mean, it's probably tough for most guys to shell out $500 a month. That's a damn car payment for most people, right? You can't, again, fine. But to act like a woman is going to live squarely off of that is crazy to me. That $400, $500 a month she getting off of you it's nothing. Compared to the bills, it's nothing. Compared to inflation, it's nothing. Compared to the way the economy is going, it's nothing, my boy. It's nothing, not a damn thing. Okay, so we got to be smarter here. Women do not make off overtly in divorces just because of child support. You may have a point with the houses, you know, whoever gets custody of the house or whatever the fuck it is. Fine, you got me there. That's an argument you want to make. Fine, but doesn't mean that the woman becomes rich. Oftentimes, these women sell those houses, right? So again, doesn't mean that they make off better with that. It just means that, you know, a lot of times, you know, it's just tough for a lot of dudes, but you got to stomach it because in the end, most dudes bounce back. I mean, I hate to say this. Listen, I'm a secure guy. I'm a guy, bro. We know. I know. I'm not these guys with a weird ass mentality. I know for a fact I'm always gonna take care of myself and my family. So even if I go get a divorce, I will find a way to get back on top. Why? I mean, I'm a guy, bro. It is what it is. Listen, at the end of the day, guys, once you recognize that you're gonna win, like, what the fuck is the point? Why are you sitting here trying to shame women? We know where we're going to be at the end. As long as you got that mentality, we know where we're going to end up. Why we need to shame the women for it? Hell, when I was getting divorced, I had no problem letting her have the certain things. I'm like, yo, you take the couches, take everything. I don't care. I will leave with the clothes on my back. I would still build something because I had that confidence as a man. I wasn't worried. Yeah, take everything. Take my TV. Take my furniture. Make sure my daughter has everything. I can do with nothing. What happened? I stayed with my mom for like, what, 2-3 months? After that, stacked up bread, got a new place, and I was set. Like, I mean, again, it's not that hard. It really is not that hard, man. Like, guys, I'm not saying that it's not difficult going through it, but I mean, come on, we're guys. We can get through it. We're guys. We know what the fuck we're doing. Some of y'all, this is what I'm saying, y'all too insecure because y'all come crying on social media to other grown men. Why are you crying to other grown men? You're a man. Handle your fucking problems. Like, this is crazy.
A great deal to me.
$440 over 18 years is over $100K. That's life-changing money. That is life changing. And this is the thing. This is
try
this
raising
is the thing.
children
this
on
is, this
three
is,
kids
this
on
is, this is
$440 a month.
And this is the thing. This is the other thing that you don't think of. Oh, this is the other thing. See, I'm not used to. I always have to write it down. You said that men don't fight for custody. This is the problem with men in statistics. This is the problem when people just read studies and they're not actually in the field. You don't know why. You don't know why men aren't fighting, because a lot of times men are in the position they cannot afford to fight for.
You say this is why people read studies when they're not in the field. Pearl, you're not even married. You're not even in the field of marriage yet. You over here trying to make arguments for people to not get married. How the fuck? Who gave you the authority to speak?
Custody, and the lawyers will tell them not to do it because they spend $50,000. I interviewed one guy, $1.5 million in Texas. $1.5 million on a divorce. He still didn't get primary custody. These cases are common. And if you spent a day.
That sounds anecdotal to me. No one fucking cares about your anecdotal experience. Isn't that what you pill poppers say? Right? That's anecdotal, right? Personal experiences don't matter when it comes to facts. Pearl, your personal experience with a millionaire who you know personally that fought all he can and still lost in child support court does not equate to the average man out there. It's just not possible. Again, facts don't give a fuck about your feelings. You should take your own advice.
In family court, if you actually were in the field, you would know.
Okay, so that's an anecdote, and it also doesn't say anything about marriage, because if a man hooks up with a woman or cohabits and she gets pregnant, he can have the same issue. So this is not unique to marriage.
Well, yeah, but marriage puts them at a higher risk because they're on the hook for alimony as well.
Alimony is only paid out in 8% of marriages.
I know, but what does a man get out of marriage that he doesn't get out of a live-in girlfriend? What benefit?
Well, he doesn't. One benefit, he's not a.
Let's talk about taxes. There's a huge tax benefit that men get while they're married versus single guys who have kids out of wedlock. I'm just being honest with you. All right. Single guys who have kids out of wedlock, they face the same problems similar to what married guy faces, but it's a lot more expensive for single guys. I hope you understand that, right? It's cheaper when you are married tax-wise than living together in a lived-in situation while you're single with a child. The man has a lot more responsibilities, and almost definitely you're going to get put on child support in the worst way. So again, he's not wrong. The same situation that can apply in marriages also applies when guys are single doing the same thing as married guys do with a lived-in girlfriend. The same shit. It's just worse for the single guy because a lot of times you don't have that authority. Why are we ignoring that? If we're going to talk about men as a whole, like, why are we ignoring that? You're supposed to be for men getting, like, I don't get you. Pearl, guys, I don't know if I can do this. My brain is breaking. My brain is breaking right now. I don't even know how to come up with a response because I'm like, I can't formulate this. I'm just too fucking dumbfounded. She's an idiot, bro. She's a goddamn idiot.
45-year-old guy saying, "Can I bring my girlfriend to the party?"
Who cares?
One, he's not that. He's a mature, stable person.
Okay.
What does he get out of it?
What
He lives
benefit?
longer. He's healthier.
No. What benefit does he get out of specifically signing that contract? What does he get?
Women
give children outside of marriage, so that he doesn't get that. The women gain weight after marriage. He doesn't get that. And all of the stats you're saying you're attributing to marriage, I would disagree.
Well,
I would say that women tend to marry happy, successful men.
That is just a correlative theory that you have, and that's not true, because
not
if you just
correlative, it's stupid. It's the dumbest theory out there, and it's a clear goalpost move. Oh yeah, well, the reason why men are happier on average, whether single or married, is because women find the married guys, all right? They find happy guys to marry. That's what it is. Well, first of all, yeah. I mean, no one wants to marry a depressed weirdo. I mean, who the fuck wants to marry that? That doesn't make any sense. And second of all, it's not that women are just finding happy guys. It's just maybe there's something about that relationship that just draws something out of them, whether they're single or in a marriage, right? Even single guys, when they have girlfriends, you could tell there's like a brief moment where there's a euphoria going on until the real work of the relationship starts to happen. It usually takes about 3 to 6 months. And now you get to understand if you're in it for the long haul or not, right? But again, a lot of this stuff, Pearl, you're missing out on is anything that can happen to a married couple can also happen to a single couple, meaning someone who's not married but living together. You're so dumb. You're a simp. You're simping for these incels out here. What's the fucking point? It's making you sound idiotic, bro.
look around at men. And when you do longitudinal studies that control for success, you see that's not the case. One longitudinal study found that after a man gets married and upon the birth of his first child, he works 10 to 20 hours a week more than unmarried men.
Right, because women love spending men's money. Of course he's got to work more. Even car salesmen will tell you the final say is who? The woman.
No, it's because now he's grown up, Pearl. He's grown up and he realizes life isn't just about him. He has to take care of other people.
My wife's credit card spending is off the chain. And that's the thing. I am
men
in the
have
field.
More credit card debt
I am in the field. I am in the field. That's the thing.
What field? What expertise do you have in this?
Because when you actually interview the men that have gone through this, you have a completely different perspective. And that's the thing, because we just went through credit card spending is off the chain. And that's the thing. I am in the field. More credit card debt than I am in the field. I am in the field.
If you look at his stats, he's right. Now, you can call that consumer debt. Now, here's why I say that if you look into the stats, because when we're looking at men credit card debt as a whole, I mean, you also, I don't know if they're separating between business credit card debt, line of credits, and all these different things like that, right? But he is right. Men on average hold more credit card debts than women, right? Student loan part, we'll give it to the women, right? But the debts, that's why I was asking Pearl, what type of debt are you talking about? What debt, right? Because we start breaking down the numbers instead of looking at everything overall. There's still some categories that men are dominating in when it comes to debt. So again, look at your stats. Look at what you're quoting. Okay, men are holding these debts out here, not just women. Yeah, women have credit card debt. We're not discounting that at all. But I mean, come on. If we're going to look at the numbers don't lie. I know how you feel, all right? But these numbers don't care about your feelings. Men got more credit card debt and women got more student loan debt. Okay, fine. You even want to talk about mortgage debt, men got that. It's true. I mean, we're going to be real or what? Actually, more like households, like married households. They got that. But that involves men and women, right? So, again, I don't know, bro. Like a lot of these talking points that these red pill have, it's just based off of trust me, bro. Trust me. It never works.
That's the thing.
What field? What expertise do you have in this?
Because when you actually interview the men that have gone through this, you have a completely different perspective. And that's the thing, because we just went through COVID. How many studies did they have? And experts that came out and said, COVID, you should take the shot. Oh, sorry, I don't want to YouTube you, but
you have 1 minute left.
But my entire point is you can make a study that says anything, but if you look at reality,
so studies are wrong except for the ones you cite for your positions.
Yep, that's how the red pill works. Okay, you show them a study that's been peer reviewed saying, hey, men hold more credit card debt than women. They'll say, oh, well, we don't believe those stats. No. We don't believe those stats at all, but they're true. Those studies have actually been peer reviewed. Why? Well, okay, what's your narrative to counteract that? Well, what's your stats, right? And they oftentimes don't have it. They'll look at numbers that are skewing in a different direction, right? So they'll look at like average debt, average consumer debt, right? As a whole, they don't break it down by what the specific debt type is, right? They can say, okay, what about line of credits? What about credit cards? What about personal loans? What about HELOC loans? What about secured loans like cars and automotive, right? There are all these different types of debt in consumer debt as a whole, right? So yeah, if we're looking at it as a whole, yeah, women hold more, but then we break it down by categories. Student loans is a larger category, right? So a lot of times on average, student loans are like mortgages, mini mortgages to go to school, and women, they had that in spades. But we're gonna start breaking it down with line of credits, HELOC loans or HELO loans, or personal loans. When you start looking at credit cards, the numbers start to bear out a little bit differently. That's what I'm saying. You can easily lie with numbers. It's important to look at the details.
If you look at reality, you would never sign a contract that someone is paid to leave, and the quality, there are just not enough wives to go around.
You have 40 seconds left. Feel free to ask more questions.
No, I think that's it.
All right. No problem. All right. We've got 20 minutes. Again, you're asking the questions. You're responding to them.
All right.
We'll try not to talk over each other just for the sake of those at home as best as we're able. Ready, set, go.
All righty.
It's kind of fun.
It is fun. You'll get addicted to it after a while.
I was a little nervous, but it's kind of fun.
Then you get right into it and it's just fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
All righty. We brought up something earlier about men. Do you think men and women have equal basic value, like equal dignity?
What do you mean by dignity?
They have the same intrinsic goodness. Men and women are equal in their basic value, their goodness as human beings.
I think that Because it depends, right? It depends how, like, I think that men do more good in society than women. And I'm assuming that's like the tweet you're talking about. But
no, I'm asking because earlier I said men and women are equal and you denied that. And I said, I agree that men and women are unequal in many ways. But surely, like, for example, do white and black people have equal dignity?
Yeah, sure.
Do men and women have equal dignity?
Sure.
Okay, good. That's really good to hear. All right. So you say marriage. I said men and women are equal and you denied that. And I said, I agree that men and women are unequal in many ways. But surely, like, for example, do white and black people have equal dignity?
Yeah, sure.
Do men?
Hey, y'all notice how quick she answered that? Chat. Y'all notice how quick she answered that question? She know better. And listen, the backlash she got from our community and a lot of the shout out to the people who stood up against Pearl with the Nick Fuentes shit. If y'all don't think you made a difference, you made a difference. Because remember, this was the old Pearl that y'all didn't know about.
I will say I did not find Nick to be racist. My staff actually did not find him to be racist.
Wait, he was talking to an Italian girl next to you and saying that she shouldn't have a black boyfriend or something along those lines.
He doesn't believe in.
He did say, I am a bit racist, even in that. And in fact, in your apology, you said that he said racist things.
Well, there's a video coming out about all of that, but you'll see. I'm just telling you my personal experience with him. We filmed hours and hours and hours of footage with him. There was that one to me, if you watch the full clip, it puts it in a little bit of context. Yeah. But he was really polite. He showed up on time. Like, we just, yeah.
He also
and honestly, he did a panel. And he spoke about his opinions on race mixing, and a lot of people agreed with him.
But ass. Notice how back then, fast forward to now, all of a sudden Pearl's singing a different tune. It's because of the work we put in here. It's because of that work. Even though we got Zesty TV tried to derail us, with all these other channels tried to derail us, we kept the focus on that. And now all of a sudden, oh yeah, I think black and white people are equal. Even though she would listen, bro, there's a reason why she answered that quick. Listen, we on your neck, Pearl. All right. I know on this channel we don't stay on your neck as much as some other channels do. But I'm gonna tell you this, okay, Pearl? Listen, that racist shit we don't let fly. We never gonna forget that you said a fucking Hitler lover and a Stalin supporter like Nick Fuentes. You said he was a great guy. The guy openly said that Hitler was a fucking hero of some sorts. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Those guys combined murdered millions of people. Millions of people. How can you in your bro? I can't. I'm sorry, bro. Anyone that supports Nick Fuentes after him justifying that, Sneeko, you're a weirdo. Pearl, you're a weirdo. FNF, all y'all are weirdos. This is what he thinks about black folks.
And then women have equal dignity.
Sure.
Okay, good. That's really good to hear. All right. So you say marriage is a bad deal for men. For a marriage that does so, because a majority of marriages do not end in divorce. For the marriages, at least let's say this, for the marriages that don't end in divorce, are those bad deals for men?
If the wife gained a significant amount of weight, I would say bad deal. Most men don't want a fat wife, I would say. If the wife cheats, I would say bad deal. Most men don't want a cheating wife. If they're in a sexless marriage, I would say bad deal. Most men want, I think most men, if you said, hey guys, do you want to get married? Your wife isn't going to sleep with you after you have 2 children. They would say, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Pearl, so, what would be the best? Let's say a man says, I would like a long-term sexual relationship with a woman.
Okay.
What would you say is the best relationship kind for him to obtain that?
What do you mean by best?
If a guy says to you, Pearl, I would like a long-term sexual relationship with a woman, what kind of relationship should I pursue? Marriage, cohabitation, dating? Which would be the best strategy?
It depends on the state you're in.
Notice how she doesn't even know what that looks like. It doesn't depend on what the state you're in. You could easily list out characteristic of what would qualify as a quality human being or a quality relationships. You can easily do that, but you notice how with her she can't do it. It's because she hasn't been in a quality relationship. This is what we're saying. You can't. It's like having a fat personal trainer. That doesn't work. The guy doesn't understand the struggle that comes with this shit. Okay, so I'm letting you guys know right now. She doesn't know. She doesn't have the clue what an ideal relationship would look like because she don't got the experience for it. She knows that. Oh well, it depends on what state. Oh no, Pearl. No, he's asking you, right? You don't have I mean, you do. You got Chicago, Illinois. I'm sorry. You got that area, right? But again, we're just saying with someone like you, Pearl, who's international jet setter. You came from the UK, now you're settling down and whatever the bumfuck you're at. All right. What would a perfect relationship look like to you? I can answer that question. A woman is honest, a woman who's loyal, a woman who's supportive, right? A woman I can get along with, a woman who has shit going on for her, a woman who doesn't squarely depend on me because I got shit going on, right? A woman who loves children, a woman who loves, it doesn't matter. She has to follow God, whatever. She got to be religious, right? She got to be religious, right? It's one of those things, right? You can answer that. You're a red pillar or a right winger, right? This is the stuff you believe in. She's got to be, I can list these things off. I can do a better job than you. That's an ideal relationship. It don't matter what state I'm in. It don't matter what location I'm in. I could be in fucking Australia. If I find a woman that meets those values, I'm going to go ahead and hit it up. But for you, it depends. Why does it depend? Because you don't know what a quality relationship looks like. You haven't been in one long enough to actually understand what it takes, what qualities you're looking for. Sometimes even it takes leaving a relationship to understand what it is that you really want. But girls like Pearl are not going to get that. Why? Is because they don't have experience in this department, but they want that. They all of a sudden have a lot of opinions.
Because some states have different states have different laws.
Just in general, would you say?
Well, I don't. There's no general. There's no general answer because it would depend on the state.
Why would it? Because what you're saying is that the harm.
For example,
let me finish. Okay. I get to interrupt now, and that's where it gets fun.
Go ahead.
Because what you're saying is, it's not. Even though the majority of marriages don't end in divorce, you still say those are a bad deal because women gain weight, even though men gain weight also. But
what about the men though?
Do men in long-term cohabiting relationships, do those women gain weight?
Not as much, but the difference is it's easier to get out of. So if a woman gains weight, it's much easier to break up with a girlfriend than it is a wife. Okay. So you're able to have higher standards.
How much weight can a woman gain in marriage before you consider her unmarriageable?
Depends on the guy. I think it's unfair more than like 20 pounds, 15 pounds. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are you doing, ladies? Get on the treadmill.
Wow.
What? Look at you. Have you looked in the mirror? Hey, look at the guys you're dating. Well, you ladies, look at you. Get in the mirror. Ladies, what are we doing? I mean, come on. Ladies, come on. Get in the mirror. What are you talking about? Like, have you seen the mirror? Like, do you even know what that looks like? What are you saying, bro? Like, that don't even make any sense. Yo, Be Too Cool with the $10 super chat. Can we get a massive dub in the chat for Be Too Cool? Be Too Cool, shout out to you. Be Too Cool says, Pearl would be the perfect doormat. Oh, my goodness. For the nice, high-value man to treat her like trash. I'm surprised she's single. Didn't Angry Reactions do that? I'm sorry. Didn't Angry Reactions do that to her? Right? He was low value, got with her because she had money. The moment he built this TikTok platform after living off their couch for years, he dumped her when he could do better. She is the doormat, right? Because the moment her ex became high value, he left her ass. What are we talking about, chat? We know what's going on. But let's be honest. You don't think that happened? Pearl knows this is the shit that happens. She would rather waste her time not finding the man, but ridiculing women's options and choices rather than talking about herself. Her friends are married. People in her background, they already got husbands, except for her. She's overweight. Like, where's her advice? Why is she taking it? Where's her husband? Why ain't he out here? It's because she's a doormat. Be Too Cool. She's a doormat. All right. Here's what happens. Be Too Cool. All right. Anybody that want to date this woman, all right, they'll date her. They got to be broke. Some of them broke ninjas. All right. They got to be broke, but they'll date her. And then the moment they get a bag off of her, they're gone. They're gone. They're not staying around for this. I mean, look at her. Who wants to stay around for this? Is this what you got to wake up to every morning? She literally comes out here on TV looking reckless. She don't care about herself. Who wants to look at this? I mean, look at this. What are we looking at? You got hair matted, all greasy and shit. You're talking about women need to be looking presentable for their husbands. You can't even look presentable for even getting a boyfriend. We're not even talking about a husband. You can't even find yourself a boyfriend, let alone somebody to sleep with you for one night. For one night. Can you out here looking like this, Pearl? So I'm sorry, if you worked on your looks, instead of shaming other women for their looks, you would probably be a little bit better off. I'm just saying. I can't fathom how women who don't have husbands could come out here and tell other women who do how to live. Like, this is crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's okay, and I think it's good for women. I think it is good for women if men have standards.
But according
for
to
us.
that Gordon Larson study, cohabiting women gain. What was it?
The studies I've seen, it's 18.
Less. Less, but
I've seen around 10. I've seen 10.
That's the study you're citing for 24 pounds gain. They gain 18 pounds in marriage. People. The problem is if you're saying that it's a bad deal for men to be in a relationship where women gain weight. And if women gain weight in all relationships, aren't you really just saying women are a bad deal for men, not marriage?
No, I'm saying that women, the difference is in a long-term relationship, you can say you need to change or I'm going to go. And women tend to act better when men have standards.
Okay. Do you agree that married men rate themselves? Do married men live longer than unmarried men?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so that's
because I think women tend to pick healthier men. Okay. I mean, we want, why do you think women are throwing themselves at these like NBA player? We want the good genes.
Are most men who get married not NBA players?
No, but you can see when you look at the men that women are throwing themselves at, you can see what women select for.
Okay. So, but you would agree though, that even if that is correct, even if it's correct that women choose men who are happier and healthier, if a man chooses to get married, then that would seem that he is or has made himself to be a happy, healthy individual.
Pearl, you just walked yourself into a box. Because if women are choosing happy, healthy men, it means that those men were marriage eligible. You understand? Meaning that if we're looking at the majority of men who are single, and we know they're single because they're on your podcast, they're on your buddy's podcast, and beyond, all right? Maybe they're not happy men. And it shows. Look at these red pillars. Do they look happy to y'all, chat? Which one of y'all ladies, hey, ladies in the chat, raise your hands. Which one of y'all will sign up to marry one of these pill poppers? Put a 1 in the chat. Or put a 2 if you'd be like, pass. So, of course, women want happy men. That just proves that this red pill shit doesn't make you happy. It never does. It's false confidence. Anybody want to marry this? All this mess. Oh, men are superior. Anybody want to be with that? Who the fuck wants to be with that? So women get with men who are stable, not just financially, but emotionally. A lot of the men who are out here, I'm sorry, y'all not ready. Pearl, you're proving this point. You're not even emotionally ready for this. A lot of men are not. So if we're gonna say women are marriageable, okay, fine. You got a point there. I'm not even gonna argue with you, right? I'll be looking at modern status today. There's a problem, but we also got to look at the modern men. Most modern men are not eligible either. Okay, so if y'all want equality, we need to be fair on both sides here. Both sexes right now in the modern era, 2024 and beyond, we're not ready. We're not ready. We never were. We got all these social conditioning. We got all these economic situations. We got all these financial situations affecting us from actually focusing on what matters. Just being real.
Yeah.
Right?
If he
gets successfully marries.
Can you say the question?
If a man successfully marries
a
woman, does that mean he has become a happy and healthy individual?
Not because of the marriage,
no,
but she was probably selected because.
Bro, what do you mean? What do you mean? I thought women choose happy men. Well, what happened? What happened? I thought men control the marriages, women control the sex. So if men control the marriages and women are choosing happy men and the men are okay with it, then why doesn't it? Wait a minute now. Now you're talking backwards, lady. Come on. No, it don't depend, right? It wouldn't depend.
Because he was that type of person.
So he's made himself into that kind of a person. He's disciplined himself. He's made himself at least somewhat successful, happy and healthy. Okay, good. So he becomes that.
I wouldn't attribute it to marriage, though. I would attribute it to them. Like, I think men are going to do what they're going to do. They're on a mission.
On average, though, does marriage take that away from men, their happiness and their health?
I would say yes. I would say there are more men in unhappy marriages than happy. Out of the original 100 that got married.
Do you have
so if you take the, I'm answering the question.
Go ahead, sure.
Listen, it's one thing to answer the question, Pearl, and we need stats to back this up because you like stats, right? So where's your stats to prove that men are 100% that are in marriages are unhappy? You're just saying this stuff. None of you have actually, we've been watching y'all. None of y'all have actually sat down and talked to currently married people in happy relationships to find out what they love about their relationships. None of y'all has done that. Instead, we see this one-sided fallacy that is repeated over and over and over again to scare a lot of these young men to not be married. I got a question for y'all, okay? Especially you pill popping tards out there who claim that you want to bring back the traditionalism and all the fuck, right? Because traditionalism involves God, whatever God means to you, right? Because, you know, everybody believes in their religion, so God can mean something to you, right? So whatever God means to you, having that in your relationship, I'm sorry, bro. And just speaking for Americans, it's usually Christian or Catholic, right? Or Islam. Listen, Pearl, just a quick question. Would God, let's just say Christianity, right? Use Christian for example. Would God be okay with you speaking out against marriage as you are right now? I'll wait. Even other religions, you know, you all can answer this question, right? I don't think so, because in Christianity, if we're focused on that, didn't he cherish marriage, right? Didn't he cherish marriage a lot? Even Christ said you got to love your woman as he loves the church. Wasn't that one of the say? Listen, I'm not great at this. I don't know a lot of this stuff. Okay, I don't know. I don't know, right? But it wasn't something to that effect. So that means that in God's eyes, marriage holds a very significant role, right? Right? So even to come up with laws against infidelity in marriages, adultery, all that, that means God takes it seriously. It's the basic commandments. So you coming out and saying, well, I don't think God, listen, I think God was wrong. Men shouldn't get married because it's a bad deal. So are you saying your God is wrong, Pearl? I'm asking for a friend. Listen, I'm just saying, let's say I want to join you. I want to join up with you. I want to be up worshiping what you worship, right? I'm trying to get in, right? And let's say I want to find a woman that I love, right? And I'm seeing your Bible and it's telling me this, but then you out here claiming to be of the same sect saying this. I mean, how am I supposed to feel? I'm gonna feel like you're some kind of heretic, some kind of blasphemer, right? That's what I would think, because your word goes against your book. But then again, when you hold them to that point, here's what they do. Oh, well, I never said I was religious, right? Same. We tried to do that with Myron. I never said I was religious, right? I mean, I'm Muslim, but I mean, I never said I was religious. Same thing with Fresh, right? I'm not. Oh, y'all are holding me accountable for abortion? Of course, I made her get an abortion, but I'm not religious. They use religion when it's convenient to them, right? Myron, Andrew Tate, same thing. It's when it's convenient for them. That's when you see the religion. You see all this. Otherwise, this guy don't care. But Pearl, you spent your time getting a huge audience base of these young Christian conservatives. So how do you think they feel? I'm speaking from their perspective. How do you think they would feel if they see you coming out here saying the one thing that their God cherished? You out here saying, well, I mean, don't do it, folks. It's a trap. Yeah, society. No, it's not worth it. I mean, just think about this shit.
What?
That's fine.
So, you know, the study you're talking about, 35%, I've heard that's a bit dishonest. I've heard it's more 50%, 45% of marriages end in divorce. The last one was from 2023. I know it's a little off because of COVID, but I think if you include sexless marriages, women that belittle their husband, that's really common. Women that make fun of their husbands in public.
Then you're taking it away from my main point. So you're claiming that these happy, healthy men who get married, the majority of them, they lose their happiness. Do you have a study that shows that? Because let me finish. Okay. I have cited the General Social Survey, Gallup surveys, hundreds of thousands of people who are tracked, Harvard Adult Study, 80 years, that married men rate themselves as happier and healthier. And the majority of them do.
But you're attributing that to...
No, bro. His question is, do you have studies? Don't move the goalpost. Answer the question. Notice how she never answers the question about her studies to refute her claims or to back up her claims.
Marriage.
I'm just saying, what I'm saying is that even if marriage is negative in some ways, it doesn't take that away from them. You're making the claim that the majority of married men aren't happy, but you have no study to back that up.
I'm saying that you can back it up when you look at 40%. Let's say 40% of marriages end in divorce.
No. We need facts. Let's say 40%. No. What do you have to back? This is where it goes bad for Pearl. What study can you cite, please? So we all know, what studies can you cite that says that men aren't happy in marriages? You can't cite it because it's bro science. This is what we've been telling you guys this whole time. They've been feeding you hot garbage. It's fear-mongering. She can't cite a study to prove her claims. Why is it our side? We always have to have the facts. We always have to have the evidence. But then people would willingly rush to believe her, and she also all has to do is make up some lies. That's all she has to do. Why does that have to be the case? I thought y'all were for facts and evidence.
Of course. Okay, 40%. Now you have 6 left. A quarter of them are sexless. Boom, that's over 50.
That's not true. A quarter are not.
There you go. Women on average, and then on average, so at least half of the women gain 25 pounds.
I'm going to ask you another question. I'm going to ask you another question again. So we do surveys, and we ask people if they're happy. And I've cited multiple studies, okay, where hundreds of thousands of married men are asked if they are happy. Okay. And the majority, 80% to 90%, say yes. Can you cite a study that shows that the majority of men in marriage say they're not happy?
Well, you're saying in marriage. I'm including divorced.
Sure. No,
No. This whole debate was if marriage is worse off for men. So we're on the topic of marriage. We're not talking about divorced men. We're talking about married men. You can have all the stats for divorced men because that's all you guys focus on. Again, the one-sided fallacy we talk about. But where are the stats for the actual married guys? You know, the guys that we've been telling y'all, you need to show the other side. Otherwise, this is all going to blow up in your face. No one listened. Where is the study for the married people? Y'all don't actually talk to married people. That's what this is proving. It's all one-sided. So once you talk to married people, you actually perform your studies, you realize there's a whole other side to the story, not just this one-sided fallacy narrative you guys are promoting out there.
But my original statement was...
and I'm going to interrupt because it's my turn. My original question was, for marriage, since the majority of marriages don't end in divorce, and if divorce is the only bad thing, then marriage is a good deal. Setting that aside... You cannot show that married men are unhappy.
But I also added in, I said if a woman gains weight, that's a bad deal. If a woman cheats, that's a bad deal.
Do the men say it's not worth it? But do the men say it's not worth it to them?
That's facts. Have you actually talked to the men and say, like, especially some of these men who are willingly going after these thick women, right? Have we talked to them and see, hey, y'all, what y'all doing? Are y'all happy in this relationship? Have y'all actually talked to these men? And chances are the answer is no. Look how flustered she is right now, chat. Look how flustered she is. She can't answer the question. Not one simple question. You put Fresh and Fit in this hot mic, they can't answer it either. Y'all want to believe what you want to believe, but you got to understand facts don't care about your beliefs, baby. Facts are facts.
You asked what I would classify as a successful marriage. Or I made the premise.
The debate is not whether Pearl thinks marriage is a bad deal.
You said I could make the premise. Yeah, so I said a good deal is classified as a woman that stays in shape, F's her husband, and stays married and is obedient. Okay. So if she's not having sex with her husband and she's gaining weight,
who should determine?
That's 60%. At least half of them are doing that.
Who should we look to determine the standard of whether marriage is a good? Let me finish. Whether marriage is a good deal. Married men or Pearl Davis?
I think you should look at men and what they're choosing, and they're not choosing marriage. Because if it was a good deal, it would be an easy sell. Good products get sold.
Is exercise
good products?
Why are you interrupting, Pearl? Like, why are you interrupting? Shut up.
Exercise a good deal? Or is exercising a good deal?
Exercising is a good deal, but
most people sign up for it?
I wouldn't say those are the same thing. Because again,
what do you mean that's not the same thing? Yo, this guy's getting pissed off. I can tell. He's getting mad. Pearl, what do you mean that's not the same thing? Your main argument that women aren't marriage eligible is the fact that they're not physically fit. But we already know that if we even look at the data for fitness, okay, we have a bunch of gyms out there, but a lot of people don't sign up. All right, so why is that? Well, can we answer the question? That doesn't have anything to do with it. Then neither does your fucking weight argument. Let's just be real. I mean, what are you talking about? M. Shotty for the 5. M. says, if all these NBA and NFL players going after white women, why aren't they hitting up Pearl? That's facts. It's because she's not fit, friendly, or feminine. She's not all these things she rails on other women against. If she took her own advice, maybe she could find a husband, maybe a rich NFL's BBC. That ain't happening. Hey, anybody she dealing with, they're gonna be broke and overweight. They're gonna be broke whales that she claims to hate. Now that's what they're gonna be dealing with. I mean, think about it. Every man she's dealt with so far, broke and overweight. That's the best she can do. She's talking all this shit. This is the best you can do. You overweight, so you date overweight men. She is who she hates, Chad. I'm not joking about that. She also hates her mother. Who the fuck hates your mother? She will not. This woman till this day will not give her mom the credit she deserves for building the company with her father. Yes, she gives all the credit in the world to her dad. Forget the mama. She has hatred for women, it comes from somewhere. We just don't know where.
Women were benefiting men like they were 100 years ago. If we look at 100 years ago, men signed up for marriage within 3 months. That's all it took.
All right, here's my
Now
next
it's
question.
taken 3
Here's my
years.
next question. If marriage
That's not how that worked. That's not how that worked at all. But okay, we'll let this delusional nonsense continue.
is so bad, including people who end in divorce.
I didn't say all marriage is bad.
Okay. If in general marriage,
I said out of 151 will fail.
if it's more likely, if it's greater than not, that marriage, it will be bad. And if that's the case, why do 65% of divorced men get married again, even though they've already been through a marriage that's failed? If it's so bad, Pearl, why do the majority of men get married again?
Boom. That's a good question. Not just divorced men. Sometimes a lot of these rich, high-value divorced men get remarried almost right away. Can you answer the question, Pearl? This is very important because the answer might just change your narrative completely.
Well, I would say, people don't always make logical decisions when it comes to.
Yeah, well, it's not logical. That's why. No, you tell me these high value, filthy rich dudes don't know what they're doing? Huh? You don't tell me there's not logic to the way they think. You really honestly believe that, Pearl? Really? This is crazy.
Love, but my question would go back to why aren't men signing up in general?
Okay, you're just so anybody who just disagrees with your standard of marriage, they're just being illogical.
No.
Okay.
I said a good deal. I clarified it in the beginning. I said good deal, doesn't gain weight, sleeps with her husband, stays married. I think that's the bare minimum.
Why can't this be a good deal for marriage? If a married man says that he's happy.
Because I don't think that I think happiness studies, like how do they measure it?
How do you measure your fucking studies? What? Whoa. What? What did she say? Again, more goalposts moving with this. Oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. She's so unbearable. I can't endure this anymore.
Ask the person if they're happy.
Yeah, people lie.
Okay, so it's just a giant conspiracy.
It's not a conspiracy.
Listen to this.
Okay, so do you think most men who are married are unhappy?
I think most men that sign up for marriage out of the original, not stay married, that sign up for marriage, 51 are unhappy with that original deal. And we can agree at least.
Not what you think. What are the stats to back up your claims?
40% divorce, right?
Yeah, there's a 40%.
Okay, what percent of men rate themselves as happy?
You don't get to ask that questions. Fine. I get to ask them. And as I said before, just because a marriage ends in divorce, it doesn't mean that person now thinks that marriage is a bad deal, since the majority of men who get divorced choose to go back and get married anyways.
Bro, that's facts. I'm actually one of the dudes he's talking about. I got divorced, but I would still consider marriage in the future. Maybe not now, but way in the future, I would consider it because there's some benefits to it. Say what you can and say what you will. There are benefits to marriage. I'm with that. I'm not totally against it either. I'm not coming out here saying, fuck that. No, it's just I recognize where I went wrong in the last marriage, and I'm going to do it better next time if I find a woman who can do something, right? That's just what has to happen. Sometimes we live and learn. And I'm a guy. I know I'm going to bounce back, so money's not a problem for me. I'm not saying I'm high value, filthy rich, and I make good money, right? I'm not saying I'm all that, but I know I'll bounce back. I divorce or whatever the fuck. I'll put security measures in place, like a prenup or a post-up. But I know for a fact, if someone were to go crazy, I will bounce back as a man because I'm a man. I know for a fact I'm not equal with most people, so it is what it is. But some of y'all advocating for equality on these pill-popping spaces, y'all get mad that you have to take care of certain burdens. Don't be worried about this stuff. But the guy has all the facts in the world. Pearl has nothing to back any of her statements. Y'all need to use this as a wake-up moment. Who's really lying to you here? Somebody who has all the facts on their side and could back it up with their claims, or someone who says, trust me, bro, I think this is how it's supposed to go. Who are you going to trust? Let's just be real. Grow up. Stop this gender war. It's wasting time, money, and effort. Y'all going nowhere fast.
I want to go back to some of the different.
Why don't the majority of men sign up for marriage?
You don't get to ask. I'm going to go back here.
Because if it was such a good deal, they'd sign up.
Yeah,
they would. Good products get sold. Right. You think Elon Musk is running out of his cars.
Okay.
Elon Musk is a fraud. He's got bigger problems than his cars right now. You see Tesla stocks, they're not doing so well right now. Not the healthiest anyway. All right. There's a lot of issues going on. Shout out to Common Sense Skeptic, by the way. All right. Common Sense Skeptic dropped another video and so did Thunderfoot. I watched both of their channels. They're great people. Great people. All right. Go see Common Sense Skeptics' recent video on Elon Musk. He got exposed. He's running a Ponzi scheme. But somehow these pill poppers and these red pillars, y'all glorify Elon Musk. Get off his nuts. He's been scamming niggas for a minute. Wake up. Oh, and guess what? Y'all want to quote Elon Pearl? He's a married man. Didn't he get divorced? Hey, the woman he had the kid with, that he was like XAE, that, you know, that weird ass name. He was married to her, right? And then they got divorced and he remarried again. Why is Elon Musk getting married? Huh? You over here quoting him, why he getting married? Blows a hole in your theory, doesn't it?
When they first came out, anyways. I don't know about now, but all right. I heard that truck was bad.
All right. Let's see here, because you've brought up
80% of women get HPV. That's crazy.
Okay. What percent of men get HPV?
Similar, but they're only the sexually active ones. And
oh, come on, Pearl. Come on. If men are getting HPV at similar rates as women, can we just call it out? Stop making excuses for the men. You're simp. You're simping for these dudes out here.
It's a higher percent of sexually active women.
Yeah, I guess I'll start asking these questions. Do men have a lot of STDs?
A smaller, they're at a lower rate than women.
How do you know that?
You can Google it, CDC.
Okay. But still, do the majority of men have STDs who are unmarried, sexually active?
Well, if they're sexually active, but the minority, this is the thing. You guys don't know what's going on because you guys have been out of the game so long.
Well, now you're gonna move the goalpost. You see how she's trying to be slick. Don't move the goalpost. Answer his question instead. That's what I'm talking about. Huh? You guys just been out of the game for so long. No, Pearl, because if that was true, you need to call out Rolo.
Well, the number one way that people are meeting is dating apps. Women swipe right 5, 10, up to 20% of the time. What does that mean?
Okay. There are more women on dating apps than there are men. Even you guys can't deny this. You know that if people have way more options, they're going to be spoiled for choice. You guys preach that same exact message. So why all of a sudden you're acting brand new when it comes to dating apps? Y'all acting like dating apps don't have that. What are we talking about? They have more men on dating apps than women. The men are the ones that pay on all these dating apps because men are the market. Women are the attractors. All right, you get a bunch of women or you create bots pretending to be women to attract the men to the app because men want relationships or women more than women. So if women are spoiled for choice, of course, they're going to be swiping right less and swiping left a lot more on profiles because they have more choice. I don't get how we're overlooking this basic fact.
A minority of men can even sleep around. Okay. So when you guys are saying men stop sleeping around, a minority of men even get the choice to do that.
Do men cheat?
Yeah.
Okay. So if a man cheats,
I'm not talking about the minority of men either. Okay. If you were really honest, we don't talk about the minority of men. We're talking about the average men. Why are we talking about the minority? Minority is going to be minority for a reason. It is what it is. You can't do anything about it. But the average men are the majority. Why aren't we talking about them? What are the average men wanting? What are the average men doing? Oh, wait, average men aren't paying attention to this red pill shit. Most average men, they don't even know you guys exist. They're too busy living their lives in the real world like average people. It's the fucking outliers that pay attention to this shit, meaning AKA the minority of men who are in the real world will be the minority, but online are the majority because not a lot of average people are paying attention to red pill content on the social media internet. Social media internet. I sound like an old dude. But like, you know what I mean, Chad. Average guys, they're living their average lives. All right? This is what it is. It's the minority that come to the internet or social media. They become the majority because their voices are amplified. And then, you know, they try to dictate what's supposed to happen, what's not supposed to happen. But their voices don't actually matter. Just like when we say a lot of people who are on the far left, like especially online and social media and TikTok, they're only winning on social media. It's the same thing with these red pill guys. They're only winning, or they're supposedly winning on social media. In the real world, ain't nobody paying attention to this mess. In the real world, they'll instantly get taken care of, like right then and there, easily. You get everything taken away because your ideologies don't make any sense.
And he leaves his wife to be with another woman. Is it fair that he should have to compensate her by paying for things like child support now that he's abandoned her?
Is he going to be an active father?
if a
Well,
man,
it's one thing. So
no,
so
I'm
I'm
gonna ask the
asking.
question
Okay.
again. If a man
clarifying.
if a man is married to a woman, they have 3 kids, and he says, "Wow, I'd like to be married to this other lady instead that I had an affair
Okay.
with," and he abandons his wife and children, and his wife has been raising these kids, and now they're on their own. Isn't it just that he should compensate them for putting them in that position by paying child support?
How many kids? How old?
Let's say 3 kids, 3, 6, and 9.
3, 6, and 9. And he completely abandoned them. Not even.
So he tells the wife, "You can have full custody of the kids. I want to go and get remarried." Shouldn't he have to support them since he was an awful person and abandoned them and put them in this position?
You know what? Sorry. No, I don't believe in child support. I don't believe in alimony. I think.
What? I'm done. I can't do this. I can't do this. Listen, we can have an argument about alimony, but if you say you don't believe in child support, what is this? What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? So let's not, fuck the kids, I guess. I mean, let's be admiring here. Let's save these incel dudes over actual children. You know who are gonna abuse this? Men who are already abusive. Those are the people who are going to abuse the situation where there's no child support, because they're men, and we see them like your buddy Fresh, who have no problem with knock a woman up. 4 of them at best, okay? And will have no problem walking away from the responsibilities. That's in your friend group. So again, if we had your worldview, Pearl, a lot of men who are abusive will take advantage of this shit. And they'll sit there and act like that doesn't happen. And it'll make us all look bad as men. So child support, I don't care. Okay, alimony, we can have a conversation about that, right? Alimony, I don't support it either. I don't support alimony at all. I think alimony, listen, if we're going to be on the equality thing, then I think child support is the only thing that needs to be relevant here. That's it. But even that system needs work. But it's a system we have, so we're okay with it. But for you to sit there and say, I don't agree with child support, then what is this all for? Why are we doing this? Do you actually care about children? Like, what is the point? Like, you're an idiot to believe that. So you would be okay if daddy says, I'm going to go get some milk. And by milk, that means this milk chocolate bunny I saw the other day. I'm going to be plowing that ass. And as soon as I'm done with that, we're going to keep it 100%. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to leave you with all the responsibilities. And don't act like that's not what people did in the past, because that's exactly what men did in the past. Right? They'll leave these women all alone with these kids and go out and do something else with other dudes. If you're Myron, it's other dudes. All right. If you're a guy, you're gonna do something with other women. Sometimes these guys were dealing with prostitutes, right? So we just abandon the mother and a child. There's a reason why alimony and child support existed, for a reason. You taking that away just reminds us why it needs to be in place. But it doesn't make any sense. What she just said.
It's equal. Women have fought. We have fought for equality.
Okay.
We have fought for equality. We got it. So now you get a job like everyone else. It's a sad situation, but overwhelmingly, men aren't the ones doing that. Women, there are far more deadbeat moms than deadbeat dads.
Child support is about the child. Fuck the mother, fuck the father. It has to be about the child. This is selfish way of thinking. It's selfish. If you care about the child, you want child support. There are lots of children out here that depend on the state so hard. You need child support. The men need to be accountable. And if you're out there with that high income status and you have a kid, you need to be held accountable too. It's for the child, not for your personal gain.
Think you simp for men?
No.
So you don't call it simping for men and saying that that if a woman does something bad, she should have to pay consequences for it. But if a man, I'm going to finish.
Okay.
If a man abandons his family because he wants to screw some other lady and puts them into poverty, you're saying he shouldn't have to spend a dime on that.
Yeah,
Why?
equality, baby, because women abandon their families all the time and they're not punished, they're rewarded. So I say equal rights, equal left. So you guys fought for equality.
I'm done. I can't do this. I'm done. Somebody, you guys fight for equality. You guys, you talking about you? What do you mean, you guys? You act like you're not a woman too. You guys fought for equality. Pearl, have you checked down there in the mirror? You notice you don't got a dick, right? Okay, just making sure. You're a woman, not you guys. It's we women, okay? You're part of that demographic. You see how she talks? You see how she talks like she's not a woman? That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you got to look at Pearl as a Paul, because, like, you don't know what's happening down there. And most of y'all will never know. Most of y'all brothers would never know, bro. Be careful. I can't. I'm getting brain damage just sitting here, chat, okay? I'm sure you guys are too. I can't do this. I can't do this, bro. But this was absolutely a disaster of a debate that Pro was involved in. And honestly, it was very shocking how easily it was for her to get exposed, right? So it makes you think, why aren't these other channels who so-called claim to be about traditional conservatism, why aren't they calling this degeneracy out? Can we ask that question? Huh? Hey, Mr. Wilson, Andrew Wilson, I know you love debating these OnlyFans girls, okay? How about you call out Pearl? And not this little tacit call out you did with Fresh and Fit, right? We saw the video. I called out Myron. I called out Fresh to his face. It was a tacit criticism. You weren't even I want to see you go as hard as you went at these women. I want to see you go hard at Myron the exact same way. You don't have the balls to. Matter of fact, I'll do you one better. I want you, Andrew Wilson. I want you to go after Wes Watson with the same anger and vigor you went after those women. How about you do that? How about you do that for us? Then we know you're a real man. Because it seems like you got all the energy and smoke for all these OnlyFans girls, but not enough for your wife when she's out here going on social media. You got no control over her. She's over here listening to Rollo Tomasi, another married man. She's obeying his orders over you, your authority. You got no authority at home, Andrew Wilson, as a man. But you out here feeling so empowered to yell at other OnlyFans women or what do you call other women out there, right? That's all you do. You're on whatever podcast. You're on Fresh and Fit podcast. All y'all do is yell at OnlyFans girls. You find that so easy, doesn't it? Makes you feel like a man. Makes you feel all macho and shit. You're a weirdo, bro. Like, all this shit is just weird. So go deal with your happy life, motherfucker, because you look miserable out here over your chain smoking online, putting your depression out on display. Nigga, we know you're not married. You're not happy at home with your married life. We know this, Andrew Wilson. Like, you're just disgusting. You and pill poppers like you, especially the wannabe traditional ones. Y'all are just weird. You use the Lord's name in vain. Use it with the Lord's name when it's convenient to you. You use religion when it just suits your narrative. You're false. All of you guys are false. They're just duping a lot of young men into bullshit. Y'all gonna be stopped at some point. You will be stopped. Maybe not today, not tomorrow, but at some point. Fresh and Fit, this is y'all year, though. That's guaranteed. Hey, look, let me get to the super chats, and we out of here. Shout out to M. Dot with the $5 super chat. M. Dot said, a guy like Rollo, who's been married over 27 years, all right, has a book, The Player's Handbook, right? That would put him in the same boat as Horn or Knowles. That's facts. That's what I was saying earlier, M. Dot. I was saying if Pearl is going to levy the criticism of someone like Trent not being in touch with the dating market today, we can say the same thing about Rollo. He's been married for 27 years. He's out here writing game books on game, books on how to get laid. This guy's been in a fucking 27-year marriage. Pearl, according to your stats, he's in a sexless relationship right now. It's sexless completely. So why is he relevant and Trent's not? It just goes to show you, man, a lot of these guys, it's just talking points, right? That's what this is. You put out the talking points, you talk shit, shame the women, you get the views, you get paid by the incels, and you go back tomorrow, you do it all over again, right? It's honestly sad, it's sickening, but that's why you got to call these people out, right? You got to call them out. The hypocrisy is the main thing you got to call out, and it is what it is, right? Don't forget, check out Don Ozzy's channel, show some support. Because buddy going through it right now with Sus Marquardt. I can't believe he's striking your channel down. I mean, he doesn't even have 400 and something subscribers I checked last. Oh, shout out to y'all out here actually supporting. Yeah, so sub count just went up. Shout out to y'all for actually helping the brother out, because again, this is Sus Marquardt. He's out here trying to take down people's channel. This is what they do with smaller channels. You got to ask yourself this question: why is a channel like Sus Marquardt that has over 100,000 subscribers to his channel? His other backup channel's got almost 20,000 subscribers. Why is he going after a channel that's got less than 1,000 subs? I thought you didn't care. I thought you pill poppers didn't care. Why are you going after a channel that got less than 1,000 subs? It just shows you guys, these guys are weak in mentality, bro. They want to talk about they're not bothered about this shit. They're bothered. It doesn't matter if you have 100,000 subscribers or you have 1 subscriber. You make a video about these weirdos, they're going to try to take you out because they're that insecure. So again, it's just more proof in the pudding. This is what they would do to us if we weren't as vocal as we are. Shout out to you guys. I appreciate y'all being here. Y'all could be anywhere in the world right now, but y'all here with Dukendon. That means a lot to me. That really does. So please don't let your time be wasted. Sponsor the show. That's all we ask for. How do you do that? You do that by hitting the like button. That's it. The simple like button at the bottom of the screen. Congratulations, you're a show sponsor. Because realistically, who needs sponsors when you got the viewers? I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
But ass.